Okay, over here on the East Loop downtown, it looks like we've got a disabled vehicle that is blocking the exit ramp from 24 eastbound to James Robertson Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, kids. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, underway for another day and another week. Happy to have you with us. It is just after 3 o'clock. Let's be precise, 3:06 in the afternoon Central Time on this Monday, February the 17th, 2025. I give the year because I know there's some folks that listen from Aniana, and they don't know what year it is, much less the day of the week. That said, thank you to each and every one of you listening, wherever you might be listening from. Maybe you're on the app. Maybe you're, in parts unknown. Perhaps you're right here in good old Nashville, Tennessee, Music City. We thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us your time. 5 minutes of the full 4 hours. We appreciate you. I'll run down the pleasantries in just a moment. That would be the days of the locks for Trump and all of those things. Right after I introduce some of the players of the show, folks you'll be hearing from time to time, controlling the experience and making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible is not Chris Webber. Chris Webber is taking advantage of this, a company holiday, and he is off today. In his absence, Mason Fleming, who seems to be never off. He was here earlier. He's here now. Hello, Mason.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
You look great.
I appreciate it.
Well, you always look tired, buddy.
Yeah.
You know why?
It's just kind of a...
You know why you always look tired?
I have a feeling, but I'd love for you to tell me.
Because you're always tired.
Yeah.
Because you're always working.
Always working.
And I like that you're on the grind.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
need
man.
it. Need the money.
Get it. Make it happen. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm only
You need a couple
once.
bucks?
I mean, if you're offering,
okay,
I'll never
Ken
say
Weaver.
No.
Ken Weaver. Hey, Ken.
Yeah, I'll take a couple of bucks.
No, give Mason a couple. Give Mason a couple of dollars from in there in the newsroom. I know y'all got it floating
I'll tell you
around.
what, Brother Murphy, you give me a couple of bucks,
okay.
And then Mason, you go find somebody else to give you some.
You're right. You're right.
That's a good. I
got to
plan.
work for it. That's what I do around here.
How's everybody doing? Everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah, had a great weekend.
I did too.
I
thought briefly. I communicated with Weaver briefly, but you know what? I'd had an alcoholic beverage, and it was my mistake. I communicated briefly with a couple of members of the Super Talk staff. I was like, "Is this going to get bad, fellas?"
It was already bad.
It was bad.
Actually, it was already real good.
I think one of the two of y'all said it's going to get bad if I run out of alcohol. Oh, wait, no, I'm good. Thank you. No, we're fine over here. No, I mean, it got bad in Kentucky, obviously. I mean, and I was a little concerned. I think we were all a little concerned that we were going to get some of that over the weekend here. It turned out to just be the straight line winds, kind of the typical storms. But man, oh man, Kentucky got popped. How many have been confirmed, passed away, deceased as a result of that storm, Ken?
Got 11 so far, but they're still doing search and rescues.
Man, oh man, and that's flooding, all flooding.
Flooding.
Yeah.
I got to say this: Kentucky gets the worst of every kind of weather.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the absolutely worst of every kind of weather.
Mm-hmm.
But see, here's the thing. I think it's just that part of the country because Kansas City does too.
Yeah.
And they're kind of on the same parallel.
Yeah.
It's like that, and y'all never mistake me I'm an amateur meteorologist, which means I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I think, Ken, what we're dealing with there, right, is that you got the cool and the jet stream from the north. Mm-hmm. If you're looking macro, like at a map of the United States, you got the jet stream from the north, and you got moisture coming up and humidity from the south, from the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
And when that kind of meets in the wrong place at the wrong time, it creates badness.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
A lot of badness.
And there's a lot of it in Kentucky right now. I mean, man, they were getting hammered by snow, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, my
And
goodness,
then
yeah.
these thunderstorms on top of it. And now we've got more on the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's more nasty weather coming. We'll talk about that a little later on in the week. We'll talk about it a little today as well, as there is an expected. What time? Do you have a time frame on that, Ken? And I don't want to put you on the spot if you don't.
Stand by, Brother Murphy.
Because we know that the cold is here, and it will be here for the entire week, and there's some precipitation on the way, and that precipitation will be in the form of frozen stuff. Much to the chagrin of my new resident in my backyard. Y'all want to hear about my new resident in the backyard?
Yeah, let's hear
Lay
it.
it on me.
So, Ken, Mason, you might not know this, but Ken, I think you're aware. We've had Gary the Groundhog for some time.
Yeah, Gary. Look,
Oh,
Gary.
yeah, I've heard it on the air.
Oh, yeah, little Gary the
I'm
Groundhog. Apparently, Gary's got him a little...
Got him a little gal?
he's got a girlfriend.
All right.
I put photographic evidence up on this at Matt
Let's
Murphy's
go.
show.
Excellent.
I don't know how this love occurred, but apparently Gary's got him a girlfriend. Apparently he's been feeding her the sweet taters.
Yes, sir.
Because I can identify Gary. He's got a spindly little tail. He looks like an older fella. I believe, Ken, if I'm not mistaken, and I know my groundhog love,
Yeah.
I think this is a winter-spring kind of romance. You know what I'm saying? I think Gary's got some years on him. He's got a little spindly little tail. He's got a couple patches like he's been in a fight with a possum.
Yeah.
And this girl she's a chunky monkey. She's nice. She
Yeah.
looks good. She's got a nice little coat on her, and he's feeding her carrots.
He's giving her carrots and sweet potatoes.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, there's love in the air in the Murphy compound in Mount Juliet. I'm so proud of that. Now,
It's perfect
but
around
they're probably
Valentine's
going to
Day.
be, that's what I thought, you know, and just, winer and diner on sweet taters. And
Might as well.
I don't know if you can ferment sweet potatoes down in your burrow, but if Gary can do it, he will.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to have to hunker down, Gary and his gal.
Now, that's what I'm asking. So what's the time frame?
So it is, this winter storm, this alert for the snow we're supposed to get starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs through Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say right around 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night after that, it's anybody's guess then. Because you know how snow is. It might just blow around up there.
Oh, yeah.
Before it finally hits the ground.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, well,
And that'd
in
be
our part
fine
of
by
the
me if it just go all the way over there to Carolina and Virginia.
No, we need
That'd be fine
Just
by me.
one more little dusting, Ken. Come on.
If it's a
Boy.
dusting, though, I
That's
don't want.
vulgar speak.
I don't need that Nashville closing down.
I like to see it. I mean, Nashville might beat hell out of me and ruin me on the snow, but it hasn't yet.
Man, it's close. It's close on me because the amount of snows that I've had to trudge through doing valet work in 8 inches. What is wrong with people trying to leave their hotels at 6 in the morning when there's
8
5 to 8
inches
inches of snow on the ground?
When y'all park, I mean, for those that don't know, Mason does valet work
I
downtown.
do valet work at a couple different hotels.
And are you always parking the cars indoors?
Depends on the hotel. So, like some hotels, it's fully outdoors. It's an open lot. Could be anybody's guess as to whether or not it's stuck there for the rest of the night.
I mean, people don't get nasty with you if it's snowing and you get snow in their car, do they?
Oh, no. I mean, we make
They
sure their
understand.
windows are up and everything. Yeah, no, they understand.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
what
like,
about on your shoes?
But like
That's
on
what
my
I'm talking
shoes and
about,
whatnot,
your
like
shoes, right.
tracked in, no. Yeah.
they normally pretty good
They
about it?
understand. Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, it's icy and wet. I've had a couple people complain in the past. Then I look around them and I go,
What do you want me to do?
yeah.
would you like to get it yourself? And they're like,
Yeah.
they're like,
There's
you
your
go do
keys,
it.
fella.
Yeah. My favorite memory of the snow is when we had that negative 12-degree weather come through with that snowstorm a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And our entire ramp that leads to our underground garage at one of the hotels I worked at was completely iced over.
Oh, so you could slide on
It was great. Yeah. Everybody there was like, well, I'm going to try and get out of here so I don't have to stay at this hotel and pay another night. And I was like, you are more than welcome to. I'm legally not allowed to drive your car. So watching them try to get up the ramp
Yeah.
from the second floor to the first floor,
Yeah.
and then watching them slide all the way back down and slam the trunk of their vehicles into the back wall, probably one of my favorite memories watching rich people get angry.
Yeah. I think I would have just paid for another night.
Oh, absolutely. yeah.
But this inspires a question out of me.
Mm-hmm.
What do the hotels do if you tell me I valeted my car,
Mhm.
and you tell me I can legally not get your car?
I say I cannot get their car.
Well, yeah, but I valet. That's contract,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to go back to the hotel and say I want a night free.
per our contract, we can hand off the keys to you, giving you full ownership back to your vehicle, and you are welcome to leave our garage.
Well, but if here's what I would say to you is that one, a valet doesn't need to be talking tough to me like that.
Oh, I phrased it nicer
two,
than that. Come on now.
Number one, manager, your valet is very rude. Number two. I mean, I just wonder.
This Murphy guy's been following me from hotel to hotel.
I bet, right, getting freebies.
He's slandering my name.
He's a long hair.
He just wants that free breakfast.
I just want that free hotel room, free continental breakfast.
Just
boy.
like a long hair.
A long hair.
That microwaved biscuit and some gravy is what I crave.
I tipped my hat, and all that hair fell out from underneath. So.
Give me my gift card.
No, this is interesting. I bet they do this on a case-by-case basis, depending on the demeanor of the guest. Because if it snows and I want to leave, but I can't leave, are they going to make me pay for another night? I suppose they want to make me pay.
I was like, honestly, you could leave the vehicle there and pay a cheaper rates just to keep the vevehicle there, and then
just
get an
boogie
Uber or
whatever,
go fly home. Or
I don't know.
A lot of people just like if it's a rental, they just leave.
See, here's the deal. I stay at like the Super 8 or the Motel 6, right? Yeah. So those places might work with you. But the places that you're valeting at, they're like, you got the money. Give me the damn credit card. We're running it again. You just go back up there to your room.
The Joseph over on 4th or the Westin over on 8th.
Right.
Those are the style hotels I'm working at. People are diamond, platinum, ultra card members.
I don't want to pay for another night. Sir, you just paid $400 for room service. Yes. I think you can afford another night.
In other words, you don't have any Toyota Corollas coming out of there, do you, Brother Mason?
Oh, I definitely do. But they're on the weekends that are heavily discounted.
What's your clearance?
Over there, I think we're at 8 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, we got plenty of space.
No, I could slip in there even with the big truck.
Easy.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know, just in case I need to know for tomorrow night. What are the odds that Nashville's Morning News will be spending the night at some local motel tomorrow night? What do y'all think?
Not me, man. I'll work from home.
No, I don't blame you.
There you go, Weaver.
I don't blame you at all.
Not me.
I'm not getting out on I. I don't even want to get out on I-24 whenever it's not snowing.
I'll pick you up, Ken.
Oh, I don't like that either.
I'll come out in the big truck.
No, that's accountability, and I don't care for that either.
That's okay. I'll just sit in the breakfast nook.
Accountability is just as vulgar as snow.
I love that. So, look, I appreciate Ken Weaver's position on this issue. I humbly and respectfully disagree with it. I still love the snow. I'm still into the snow. And I lived in Connecticut one winter. And it snowed 80 inches in Connecticut. It was like one of the worst winters in Connecticut. It was in the 90s. Y'all can look it up.
Boy, that's saying something.
Like
it's one of the worst.
It was brutal. I moved there in this. I think I've told the story before. I moved there in the summertime. And I thought, man, this is nice. They make the roads so wide. And I was like trying to figure out, like, these are like country style roads, but they're really wide. And I'm like, oh, I bet they've. I did this. I bet they have a lot of farming, and I bet maybe there's farm tractors that people have to get around the farm tractors in these farming communities.
Yes, around their large state of Connecticut.
Yeah. 5 months later, boom! Oh, it's for all the crappy snow they have to plow off the roads that never melts. Get that.
Man.
Yeah, man. In Boise, Idaho, it would snow like in December, and I mean, your yard is covered until May sometimes.
I believe it.
Lord have mercy. I'm never going back up there to live ever again. I love it. I mean, it's a beautiful place, great people, but goodness, the winters.
How long were you in Boise?
10 years.
Oh, well, then that's why.
Yeah.
I get it now.
And then there was that 1 year, boys.
I always forget.
On my way to work on June 11th. June 11th. It's snowing.
Oh, man.
And really? I told my wife, I said, what in the world are we doing? Those people up there, though, they love it. I mean, well, you know, they were born and raised there.
Yeah,
I mean, they freaking love it.
Do they love it, or have they tricked themselves into loving it?
No, they love it.
I mean, you know, I think about folks that live in North Dakota.
Oh, good Lord.
In Minnesota.
No, sir.
And then even north of the border in America's Hat, the 51st state. I mean, what do y'all people do? Y'all know there are better places.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, all it takes is a credit card to U-Haul. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I mean, you know, The poor people, remember Sam Kinison talking about when the Ethiopian famine was going on? Why don't you just move to where the food is? Right now, you don't fault those folks. They got no means. They got no money. You people up in North Dakota, y'all got money.
Just putting up with it at that point.
I mean, I guess I understand the oil folk up there, but other than that, Boise, Idaho, that's it's a
little slice of heaven other than wintertime.
But wintertime apparently happens in June, according to a good authority.
It lasts for like 6 months, and that's just too much.
That's a little too long.
That's too much.
My friends that live up north always tell me, my golfing friends,
they're
like, man, it must be nice to be able to golf in December.
Yeah.
It must be nice to be able to golf in February. I said, yeah, it's nice. Come down in August. Ain't no damn golfing in August. I promise you that. It's 100 degrees.
And the green is no longer green.
We're going to talk a little about President's Day. I need some attention from the audience. I need you to answer a question for me. Are you with me on the issue of President's Day? I'm going to get off on my rant here in just a moment. We're going to talk about J.D. Vance. We discussed this Friday afternoon on the Friday edition of the show, that J.D. Vance had a few things to say at the Munich Global Summit, or whatever they're calling it, the Security Summit, regarding Europe's growing propensity to go against the basic concepts of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. That got a lot of backlash in the immediate aftermath of the speech, and then Europe proceeded to prove J.D. Vance right. They proved J.D. Vance right by their reaction to his speech. We're going to discuss that today. Obviously, we're going to catch you up to what's going on is that Toronto, Ken, where that plane crash is? Yeah, Toronto, Canada, where a plane flipped upside down. My speculation is this is wild and rampant speculation, but I think, my years of experience observing these types of things would dictate to me that I bet you they're going to find out plane comes in, plane slides sideways, plane tips, wing hits, flip. That's my rampant speculation as to what happened. Now, maybe they hit something on the runway, but that's just land, slide sideways, tip, wing hits. Once that wing hits, you flip right over. We'll find out. Thankfully, it does not seem, I think, one person in critical condition, all other people accounted for, and it looks like there, at least thus far, will be no fatalities involved in all of that. We will discuss that on the show today. Volodymyr Zelensky suddenly wants war, apparently, as he has rejected the offer for the United States of America to sit down with Russia and Ukraine and try to work out a peace accommodation for both nations. We will talk about that on the show today. There are protests in Knoxville. I'll tell you exactly what's going on there. We got a lot to do on the big show today, this Monday edition. It is Locks for Trump Day 352, and we're looking toward a March 4th date, folks, for me to get these things cut off live and in person at the big event at Nashville Palace.
All right.
I know we're having a difficult time calling this event. Well, what are we calling this event? We're going to go through that.
That's a good idea.
Because it's not the struggle here is that it's not technically a State of the Union.
Right.
And that's where we're struggling.
What is it?
It is a presidential address to a joint session of Congress.
Okay.
You don't have we could call it a State of the Union, Ken, and most people would just be fine with that, but there'd be like 14 people in the audience going, well, technically there's no State of the Union.
Technically, it is not the State of the Union.
Because it's inauguration year. And
But it means, technically that means that they're going to show up.
Oh, no, they'll be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no, they'll be
tickets sold.
No, we just need to sell some tickets, and you get a free buffet. With your purchase of ticket, you get a free buffet, free beverages, non-alcoholic. You can buy your alcoholic beverages if you so desire. And trust me, I'm going to have a few myself before Snippy. I'm ready.
You might as well.
Snip.
You already got the images laid out?
How about if I have a few and I do the snippy?
How much are we giving to? How much are we raising for charity? That's the question. How much? How big a boy are you?
How big old boy are you?
23 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back right after this.
Anybody who says that they are defending democracy, at least to me, those are buzzwords for we hate Donald Trump. We've got Trump derangement syndrome.
Tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 a.m. and streaming on the Super Talk 99.7 WTN app.
You know, we told you that winter was not done, and we're going to experience some winter weather over the course of the next week or so. And if that winter weather brings another cold, a round of cold, or perhaps even the flu to your home, I have an answer for you. It's Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is not only affordable and convenient, they are comprehensive medicine. They are a direct pay system, meaning that nothing gets between you and your doctor. You're going to have a doctor providing you with the ultimate care without interference from the insurance companies or pharmaceutical industry. Secondarily, when cold and flu season hits, you need to get to the doctor today, not next week, not next month. And sadly, the normal operating procedure for most of these healthcare centers is you have to wait a week or more. Not so at Grace Point Healthcare. You'll get in same day or next day, even with new patients. They even do house calls. For those of you who are feeling just a little too bad to leave the home, they'll arrange that for you when you make the call. And I encourage you to get the whole family over to Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is a military veteran-owned practice. They are good people, and they do great work, and they do it the old-fashioned way. They say modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way, and they live that they live that quote every single day. 599-6868 for Grace Point Healthcare.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
We'll get you the very latest on that Delta regional jet that flipped on its top upon landing in Toronto. An update on that Amber Alert for a 2-year-old Tennessee girl today. And you got to hear the story of a woman in Clarksville, how she and her neighbors survived the flood this weekend. That's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No.
Keeping an eye on you, Brother Mason.
No. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Brent Douglas. Brent Douglas. How big, old boy, are you? Well, that don't scare me none. You better You better pack a lunch. The best name for a president?
That's fair. That's fair.
What about W.C. Fields? Yes. My fellow Americans. Well, he should have been.
Oh, I thought you said first name. Oh, yeah, those are Whoa, those are some wild names there. We did.
As first names.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know why that name sounds like a made up one for like a. Wait a second there.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And a Delta Airlines regional jet has crashed upon landing in Toronto. That flight from Minneapolis. Here's Alex Stone with the latest.
In images coming in from our partners at Canadian TV, the Delta Airlines CRJ 900, CRJ standing for Canadian Regional Jet, is somehow upside down with its back tail ripped off and signs of fire. The airport is covered in snow. Toronto Pearson Airport says all passengers and crew are accounted for. Police tell us there are injuries, but incredibly none life-threatening.
Right now in Tennessee, an Amber Alert for a 2-year-old girl is canceled after authorities say she was found safe, and her non-custodial father, who allegedly kidnapped her, is in custody, charged with kidnapping and driving on a revoked license. In Clarksville, this woman among residents in an apartment complex off of Concord Road who tell Channel 4 they had to swim to safety when flooding hit.
And I was getting police-like knocks on my door with water gushing in. I mean, it was a decent amount already. It was above the first staircase of the apartment, so we were all just swimming, trying to fight for our lives to get out.
27 people had to be rescued in Clarksville yesterday. President Trump, meanwhile, signing a natural disaster declaration for Kentucky to free up as many resources as possible, where Governor Andy Beshear says the death toll from flooding in his state has grown to 11.
You look at the number of people we've already lost and the damage. This is one of the most serious weather events we've dealt with in at least a decade. We've certainly had our share, and this is another significant one.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a couple of crashes need to tell you about. 65 northbound at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic currently passing in the far right side to continue 65 northbound there. We've got the right lane block, Briley Parkway eastbound at 24. Then South Loop downtown, crash reported by police. 40 eastbound after the 65 south exit. And then 40 eastbound, I just told you about that. What are you doing, Ken? And then in Laverne, we've got a crash, 24 eastbound after Waldron Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
west. Either way, we are expecting slick spots throughout our Wednesday.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. You know, this is the time of year where it gets up. I mean, a few days ago it was in the 70s. And before you know it, it will be in the teens, and there will be snow on the ground. And so the heater's working, and maybe even the AC's coming on. It's that time of year that oftentimes leads to issues with your heater because you're just flexing that unit quite a bit. Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling understands this. They are at the ready. Jeff Eddy, at the ready with Efficient Heating and Cooling. Ready to go to help you solve the issue that you have without having to replace that thing. That's the last thing you want, especially at this point in the season. You would like to get past the season, maybe get a full year out of that heating unit, even if you know that the unit is perhaps on its in its winter season, if you will, on its last legs, because then you can make the decision to repair / replace on your own time. Jeff Eddy understands this. Now, if it's time, it's time. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can help you pick out the right unit for you. But Jeff Eddy's never going to try to upsell you on that if he can fix the unit and get you through the year. The bottom line is this. Give Jeff Eddy a call, and he can help you out. Never charging you overtime during nights or weekend calls. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or go online to efficienthvac.net.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A little bit later on, we'll get into J.D. Vance's speech before the assembled security groups in Munich, Germany. How it was originally received is pretty hilarious, and the aftermath and the proof that now is in the pudding even more so hilarious. We'll break it all down for you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Happy President's Day. Hope you're doing well. How you celebrating the old President's Day, guys? Yeah?
I didn't get a chance to finish my shopping.
Oh, you got big shopping doing?
Yeah, man, I was gonna buy gifts for the family on President's Day, but
well, that's tough, man. That's tough. It sneaks up on you, Ken.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
It does.
Every year you think, I've got plenty of time, and then before you know it, here it is, President's Day.
I don't know what I'm going to do with the tree.
Already got the grill under it and everything.
I think my favorite headline over the last couple of days having to do with this J.D. Vance story out of Munich, Germany, was the Babylon Bee. Von Trapp family crosses the Alps into Switzerland to escape free speech. Because Margaret Brennan was over the weekend on Face the Nation, and Margaret Brennan was explaining to our Secretary of State that the reason that it was so egregious that J.D. Vance said what he said to the people of Germany was, Nazi Germany and how they weaponized free speech. No, they didn't. They shut down free speech, lady. I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about. You either display you either believe that government ought to have the ability to censor opposing points of political view, or you have no understanding of history, an absolute misunderstanding of what happened during Nazi Germany and how Adolf Hitler managed to rise to power with the Nazi regime. They rose to power by shutting down free speech. They rose to power by not allowing political dissent. They rose to power by not allowing voices that differed from their own to speak freely without fear of reprisal. Same way that Germany's acting now. Now, I don't suggest that the leadership of Germany are Nazis. I wouldn't do that. I don't do that. The political left, I'll leave that to them. They're the ones that like to throw out racism and Nazism and fascism and all of these other isms just because they might have to disagreement or two or might have to defend their own points of view. I don't do all of that. But we'll school Margaret Brennan later on today. She's gone suspiciously quiet on social media because she knows. I was watching that when it happened. I just so happened to be watching that when it happened. I was getting ready for the Daytona 500 that never happened until late into the night last night. But I'm watching this, and at the time that it happened, you could see on her face she knew that she was talking to somebody smarter than her. And you might get away with that. I've got the clip. You might get away with that with somebody who isn't up on American history and up on world history and world events. But Marco Rubio was having none of it. And good for him and awful for her. I mean, the mainstream media is being more and more and more exposed. And I've got a rant on that coming up later on as well that I threw down a rant over the weekend on my social medias at Matt Murphy Show. I invite you to go and take a look. It is the treatment of the political left and their minions in the mainstream media as to the lip service that they've been giving to waste, fraud, and abuse so many years. And they've been lying all along. And now their lies are being exposed. It's all been a grand lie to them. And we will discuss a little bit later on in the show today. So I'm now officially questioning why in the hell President's Day exists at all. Why is this a national? Well, I know why it exists. I'm asking why is it currently a national holiday, except once you give government service employees a benefit, you never get it back. I mean, look at how many of these people have been grifting off the system for so many years that are howling. They can provide no work product. And now that they're fired, they're going on CNN. Oh, they fired us without telling us why. Welcome to the real world, lady. In the private sector, that happens all the time. People are laid off all the time for good reasons, bad reasons, or no reasons at all. All the time. That's called the real world. Get used to it. You might want to, I don't know, brush up on that resume. Might be time for that. If you're in government employ and you can't tell me what you do on a regular basis, remember the movie Office Space? By the way, I feel like that guy more and more. The guy that got hypnotized, because my idea of a great day is just sitting around doing nothing. Isn't that a great day?
I freaking love it.
You know what I'm talking about, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine the glory that would be sitting in a comfy chair on a dock looking at a lake?
And about 8 big old fat catfish on the stringer.
Oh, yeah.
And more to come.
Come on. Just do it, just nothing. Just sitting there.
Oh, man.
Sitting in the morning sun.
Yes, sir.
I'll be sitting till the evening's done. Watching the ships roll in. Then you watch them roll away again. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. Anyway, we'll delve into this a little bit more later on when it comes time to talk about government employees. But seriously, do federal employees really need a day off today? Isn't that what this is all about? I mean, unlike other federal holidays where at least we collectively do something. I mean, obviously, I got a little tongue-in-cheek going on because I know y'all like the day off. Y'all like the 3-day weekend. We like the 3-day weekend so much that we just said to hell with Washington's birthday, right? So if you know the history of this, originally we started celebrating Washington's birthday in 1789, way back. I think it was as early as 1789, if my memory serves me correctly. And throughout the 1800s and throughout the 1900s until like in the mid-1960s, we celebrated it on Washington's birthday. And then at some point, we decided that we didn't like celebrating on Washington's birthday. No, I have the info up right here. So George Washington was born on February the 22nd, 1732. Washington's birthday was celebrated on this date from 1879 until 1970. Now, Lincoln's birthday was on February the 12th, and a lot of states after Lincoln came along began combining the 2 days, or they were celebrating separately. Lincoln's birthday has never been a federal holiday. Never. Okay? Washington's birthday was. And it was decided that we couldn't celebrate on the 22nd. And by the way, for those of you wondering, apparently initially, like when George Washington was born, this gets a little confusing. George Washington was born on February the 11th, 1731. But at the time that he was born, the British Empire, including the North American possessions known as the colonies, we were on the Julian calendar. The empire was not bound by the Catholic Church that had not yet adopted what was known as the Gregorian calendar that Catholic countries had adopted in 1582. So we were on a completely different calendar. We were on a completely different day than many parts of the rest of the world. But, you know, the world was a lot bigger place back then. So consequently, by the 1730s, the Julian calendar used by Great Britain and the colonies was 11 days behind the Gregorian calendar. And this was largely due to leap year. Every leap year, we got a day behind because one of the I guess it was the Julian calendar did not observe, and the Gregorian calendar did, so it added a day to the Gregorian calendar, so they got a day. Or I might have that backwards. One way or the other, I was told there would be no math. So imagine... So if you're George Washington, you just had to basically decide at some point that your birthday was no longer February the 11th, it was February the 22nd, which he did. So we celebrated it on the 22nd for a long time until such time as federal employees, entitled as they are, started complaining that they didn't like getting Wednesdays off and Tuesdays off and Thursdays off. They wanted themselves a nice 3-day weekend. And so it was decided in the mid-1960s, I had it here, 1960 and 8, it was decided to give federal employees a 3-day weekend. This was called the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which moved it to the third Monday in February, which can now occur any time between February 15th and the 22nd. And the day soon became known as President's Day because of the presence of Abraham Lincoln and the proximity of Lincoln's birthday to Washington's birthday. Many states adopted Lincoln's birthday as a holiday. Some states did not. And then eventually we get to President's Day. All right, so I think it's altogether wonderful and good and proper that we honor our great presidents of this and these United States of America. Our country is great in no small measure due to George Washington. And our country is whole in no small measure due to people like Abraham Lincoln. And we have many, many other great presidents. And frankly, I consider 47 to be one of the finest in the modern era, if not the finest. So I am not against celebrating presidents of the United States. Matter of fact, I spent a good part of yesterday afternoon celebrating a president of the United States. Y'all see him at the Daytona 500? Man, he looked great.
Yeah.
Riding the beast around. They wouldn't let him put the beast up on the banks.
Yeah, but it would have been cool. Would have been so cool.
Have y'all ever been on a speedway like that?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
I understand it's a lot steeper than it looks.
It's a hell of a lot steeper than it looks, Ken. So I've never been on the banks of Daytona, but I have been at Talladega. Talladega is somewhere in the neighborhood of 34 to 36 degrees banking.
Wow.
And so you cannot stop a car on those banks. It would either slide or flip, depending on how top-heavy it was.
Absolutely.
And I think you have to, in a normal vehicle weighing about 4,000 pounds, you have to maintain a speed of about 80 miles an hour so as not to slide off the banks. The Beast, the presidential limousine, as it's known, weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 22,000 pounds.
Whoa.
So you would probably have to get that puppy up to in excess of 100 miles an hour to keep it up there.
Yeah.
And they decided that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, we don't need to be doing that with the president inside.
You know he wanted to, though.
Oh, you know he did.
Had his little granddaughter with him with her little hat on. Oh, my goodness. Had a little rainbow. Let's make rainbows rainbows again. That was my comment on that. Little girl had a little rainbow flag on her dress.
Yeah, she was a
little
cutie.
sweetie, little cutie. Anyway, I had the opportunity one time to take a. They do these NASCAR experiences where you get into an actual NASCAR ride, and we did that at Talladega. I've told the story. I don't know if I've ever told it in Nashville, but it was a great experience. One of the greatest days. I love the sport, love auto racing, love motorsports altogether. Got a chance to sit down, and I got in Dale Jarrett's car, and this was after he had retired. He donated a lot of his cars to the Dale Jarrett driving experience, and the only thing they'd done in the car, they told him, they said they did a standard setup on the car. It's the same car that the NASCAR drivers drove at the time. This is probably 10 or 15 years ago now, and all they did was move the kill switch from the left-hand side of the car to the middle of the car and put a seat in there for your instructor. And I said, well, why'd they move the kill switch? And they said, well, if you go crazy, Woody here wants to be able to kill that engine when he needs to. And so I got to know Woody, and, we went through a driver's meeting before we got in the car. He said, this is the driver's meeting. This was almost the driver's meeting in its totality. Woody says to me, and Woody's my instructor, you ever drove a stick? Yes, sir. All right, this clutch is a little tricky, and you need to give it a lot of RPMs to get it going. Otherwise, you're going to choke it out. Okay? So get it up to about 3,000 RPMs before you let off on that clutch in first gear. All right? And then he said this, and if you're watching on Super Talk TV, then he said, this means go faster. He said, we can't really talk. We didn't have radios. He said, we can't really talk in the car. He said, this means go faster. This means go slower. This means go left. This means go right. You ready? Let's go. That was the driver's meeting.
What an instructor.
And so we did a few laps, and if you don't know Talladega, you go about by yourself. We went 170 miles an hour.
Wow.
And around other cars they get up to almost 200 miles an hour because of the draft. But Woody, we did a few what we call practice laps before we did time stuff, and we got in, and Woody said, "What, you slowing down, man?" And I was like, "I am not slowing down." He goes, "Yes, you are." He said, "You're slowing down in the corners." And I said, "What?" I said, "Woody." And he said, "You are." He said, "Because you think you're going to hit that concrete wall. Because when you're going toward those banks, it looks like a concrete wall."
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And then like this, you're on it.
Yeah.
And then if you look out of the front, if you're looking out of the windshield of the car, all you see on that bank is concrete.
Yeah.
You just see a wall. You have to look about 45 degrees to your left out of the side of the window to see where you're going.
Man.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
And looking at your passenger side, you see the sky.
Right. You see the American flag over there in turn 3 pointed what looks to be sideways when it's actually straight up. Anyway, so long story short, I know I got to go. Woody is giving me the business about not lifting and not lifting. And I said, okay. And Woody made it clear that I needed to stay in the center lane. Well, I have seen these NASCAR boys sling out of turn 2 on that track and just sling it right up to the wall. Like I wanted to sling. So on my last hot lap, I'm like, I'm going to let this thing sling right against the wall. And so I'm there, and I'm getting out of the little tri-oval, and I'm in the turn, and I'm in turn 1. And so you get off that banking, and when you get off that banking, it shoots the car to the right. Mm-hmm. And I let it shoot to the right. And Woody's hand, I saw his finger like this, and then I saw him like this, and I'm like this.
I bet.
And when we got back in, we stopped, and Woody looked at me and said, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I did that on purpose." I said, "How close did I get?" He said, "About that close."
Wow.
And I was like, all right.
That was the goal.
You mean from going over?
No, from the wall.
Oh, from the wall.
I was about 6 inches from the wall. And I was like, mission accomplished, Woody. He said, don't pull that crap again.
How hot did it get in there?
Woody was cool. Woody, he never grabbed the wheel. I thought he was going to grab the wheel, but he never grabbed the wheel.
Yeah.
What color pants was he wearing?
He let it roll. Woody said he's been in worse. He said he's been upside down with the driver before, so all good. All right, we got to go. It's 54 after the hour. That's enough of that. When we return, President's Day, yay or nay, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, plus a special guest who was in New York last night for SNL 50 in the audience. We'll tell you who that is next. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for United Structural Systems. When it comes to large home repairs, bottom line is this. What you don't know certainly can hurt you. And if you don't know that something's going on, but you've noticed some of the telltale signs, it's time to get with USS, United Structural Systems. They are problem solvers when they come to your home, after all. And that means this. They don't upsell you on anything. They're there to identify the issues that you've seen symptoms of, whether it's windows sticking, doors sticking, perhaps a moldy or musty smell coming out of your basement or your crawl space, whatever it might be. And you can find a laundry list of symptoms that identify foundation issues or waterproofing issues right there on the website, USSTN.com. But they come out and they will identify those things. They will solve them. They will fix them jiffy quick, and they'll let you be on your way with peace of mind that you're A-OK when it comes to your foundation. They guarantee their best at USS. It's why almost 30,000 satisfied customers can say that USS is tip-top, and I'll say the same. USSTN.com or 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. TDOT trucks have been pre-treating state roads and interstates for the snow tomorrow night. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Meanwhile, 8 people injured, none with life-threatening injuries on that runway in Toronto today.
This airplane just crashed at 23. 7105, full up ground.
That is the tower, courtesy Live ATC. Sam Sweeney says the Delta regional jet had just flipped upside down on the runway.
This is a CRJ 900 aircraft. It's slightly bigger than the plane that crashed at DCA just 3 weeks ago. It was arriving from Minneapolis into Toronto's Pearson Airport when it somehow, in these weather conditions, and we're learning the winds were at least 40 miles per hour, it flipped over, potentially some sort of an ice situation.
80 people were on board. John Nance describes this Delta plane.
This is one of the workhorses of what we used to call commuter aviation. This is a Delta connection. And these airplanes are working day and night everywhere. They're not fragile, but they are light. This is about a 47,000-pound airplane compared to maybe a 140,000-pound 737.
A child among the injured, but again, no life-threatening injuries reported. Well, that Amber Alert for a 2-year-old East Tennessee girl is canceled after authorities say she was found safe, and the man that allegedly kidnapped her, taken into custody. That man, the little girl's non-custodial father, identified as Matthew Linbaugh, charged with kidnapping and driving on a revoked license. Deadly flooding in Kentucky. The death toll 11 could have been higher after this teenager and his friends had to be rescued when he drove into standing water.
I see it all over like TikTok, all over YouTube, Instagram. I see these stuff happen, but I never thought this would really happen like over here, like in Kentucky, like especially on the road I use like mostly every single day.
Meanwhile, in Tennessee, high water rescues continue in far northwest Tennessee, Obion County. 27 people rescued in Montgomery County yesterday, and 50 people had to be moved to safety from a nursing home in Macon County on Saturday. In Pennsylvania, strong winds blew a tree down, crushing a woman to death right after Elizabeth Bolliger had just spent the day with her at a church concert.
I told her I loved her. She said, I love you too. Have a great night. I said, you too. We kind of like grabbed our hands as we was, and she stood there, and it just hurts.
Before this, neighbors said another tree fell in that neighborhood, knocked down some power lines. And on this President's Day, rallies underway to protest Doge. Meanwhile, Mary Bruce says 15,000 workers at the IRS face potential layoffs. Others could be barred from entering Federal Aviation Administration buildings tomorrow.
We've heard stories of people who have gotten email notices that they have lost their job at midnight, even when their own supervisors and advisors didn't know. People who were locked out of their email and HR systems before they could figure out whether they would still have health insurance.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash blocking the right shoulder, 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway. Then right shoulder blocked by a crash, 65 northbound at Vietnam Veterans. And then a crash reported by the Highway Patrol. This is going to be 40 westbound after Jefferson Street. And in Laverne, TDOT reporting a crash 24 eastbound right after Waldron Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, gang. Tennessee Men's Clinic is a sponsor of the Matt Murphy Radio Show, and I'm proud to talk to you about them. Although it is sensitive information, I understand that it's personal info as well, sometimes, especially with you fellas out there. But it's time to talk real with you guys about energy levels and about how this might impact your performance or your desire in the bedroom. It happens to a lot of guys at a certain age where we just don't feel it, don't make it happen, can't make it happen the way that we used to could. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into more detail. Here's the bottom line, though. If you schedule an appointment with Tennessee Men's Clinic, they can speak with you in a very confidential and professional manner. One of their qualified urologists will meet with you. You'll sit down, you have an appointment. They'll go over you tip to stern, and they'll find out what's going on inside of your body, whether it's T levels or some other causal factor. They're going to make sure that they have the right diagnosis before they put a plan of action in place to help you get back to energy, get back to life with that significant other, get back to intimacy again. That's what it's all about at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com to find out more, or one of their fine locations. The one's in Franklin, the other in Midtown, has been there since 2014. Go see the professionals at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. The number, 615-208-9090, 208-9090. All right, kids, it is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway. Hour number 2 starts right now, 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Thank you for being around on this Monday, February the 17th. It is a holiday, a federal holiday called President's Day. More on that coming up. We'll also share with you where we are regarding Trump's America a month in. I guess it's 4 weeks technically in to his presidency on this 751st day of our broadcast on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I got a hot take on President's Day. I mentioned that. We've got snow coming tomorrow night into Wednesday. We'll discuss that as time allows. Sheryl Crow has decided to sell her Tesla. Y'all see that video of Sheryl Crow selling her Tesla?
I did not.
That rollback... she had a like a little rollback tow truck.
I saw that.
Taking just belching emissions out of her neighborhood. There it goes.
Yeah.
Killing trees and
Tesla
puppies.
doing that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, killing trees and puppies while she takes that Tesla off.
Yeah, and she's going to give the proceeds to NPR, which already gets proceeds from taxpayers.
Which is nice. I mean, but that's another reason to stop funding NPR, right, Ken? Because Sheryl Crow's there for them. Well, that's good.
I don't know if Sheryl knows that.
Maybe, I don't know what the hell Sheryl knows. Isn't Sheryl the one that said that we only needed one square, a TP? Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
She said if you're using more than one square, you need to go to a doctor. And I'm like, you need to get out of my bathroom habits, lady.
Well, she better not go around anywhere.
doctor.
She better not be anywhere near Elaine Bennis if she says something.
Oh, she doesn't have a square to spare.
Yeah,
not a square to spare. Hey, if you're around a television last night, perhaps you turned on the big Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary edition. Look, we'll get to the news of the day in a moment. Never you fear. But I wanted to veer away from politics for a moment and talk to one of our good friends who is local to our community. Her name is Victoria Jackson. Of course, Victoria is known far and wide. She's a great comedian, fine actress, and she appeared on Saturday Night Live from 1986 to 1992. We've had her in studio numerous times, and it is my pleasure to tell you that she was in New York City in the studios watching the 50th anniversary, and she joins us on the phone as she tries desperately to get out of New York this afternoon. Hey, Victoria, how are you?
Hi, Matt. I'm in a taxi headed to LaGuardia, and I'm still kind of speechless about the exciting night last night.
So, we had you on a few years ago when I first came to Nash, and I was so disappointed the way that they treated you during the 40th anniversary. And I know you were too. You talked about that with us. But it sounds like you were treated well this time around. Is that true?
Oh, yes. They treated me like a superstar. I don't know if the 40th was a clerical error when they put me in the overflow room. It might have been a mistake. But they were very organized this time and super classy. Everything Lauren does is like super class, And there's so many highlights. I'm trying to remember them to tell you. First of all, only in America can a little girl who has no TV, who's laying in her grandma's living room, eating stale cookies, watching Sonny and Cher at the age of 10, grow up to be on a show where Cher is sitting in the audience of my show.
That's very cool.
She had a cameo on my show last night, and I was like thinking, who's the lady in the big blonde beehive? And it was Cher. But also, I saw her at the concert 2 nights before. You know, she looked amazing for her age, didn't she?
Oh no, she looked not nearly as good as you looked, Victoria, but she looked okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, you didn't see me in a see-through fishnet bodysuit, but you know, you can just imagine.
I saw. Hey, I saw that move you pulled at on Instagram though. That was pretty good.
What move?
Well, you were on Instagram and you were you I don't know if that was a faux fur or what, but you pulled down that faux fur. Where was that at?
Oh, that was in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
About a couple days before. I wore the same dress. It was a premiere of a little movie I was in, and I saw this black guy stand there and go, "Hey, will you do me a favor?" And he knew exactly what I was thinking. And he just happened to be an actor, and we just reenacted that. We didn't even discuss it. It was so much fun.
That's so good.
His name is Gregory. It's on my Instagram. Yeah, my Instagram is Victoria Jackson Official, and I want everyone to see this little video I made in Central Park while it was snowing yesterday. 2 days ago. Yesterday, and it was like at the John Lennon mosaic that says Imagine, and I've always thought that song was so depressing, so I changed the lyrics, and I made a video with the snow falling, and I'm just so tickled. That was my goal, going to New York. I thought, if they put me in the overflow room again, at least I'll get my little video of me with the John Lennon memorial, and I got it, so I'm excited.
I've been there. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the video right now. It's that's in they call that Strawberry Fields, right?
Yeah, but guess what? I got a picture with Paul McCartney.
I saw that. I posted that up. I got my listeners to guess which of those famous people would be on the show at 4:05 this afternoon. And
my goodness.
You had Paul there, and I didn't know the fourth guy. I knew Paul, and I knew John, and I knew you. Who was the fourth guy? Did you know him?
Adam Sandler.
That was Adam Sandler?
Yes,
what?
With beard.
That didn't. Oh, the beard must have thrown me. I can't believe that's Adam Sandler. What?
Yes, and here's the coolest thing. I am scared of celebrities. I'm very shy. I would have never gone up there. What happened was I didn't know how I was going to leave the show. Like, how do you get a taxi? It's freezing. Are they providing cars? I didn't know. Nobody told us. And SNL's very mysterious. They've always been like that, like Mission Impossible. They don't tell you if you have a line like till 5 minutes before. So anyway, I see Lovitz, and he's my friend. So I go, "Hey, John, how are you getting to the party at the plaza?" And he goes, "My car." I go, "Could I go with you?" He goes, "Sure." The trouble is, John Lovitz is the biggest schmoozer of the world. He loves schmoozing. He goes up to every celebrity and gets their phone number. So, like, I was just tagging along with him, and he goes up to Robert De Niro, and I met Robert De Niro, and he looked at me kind of mean. I don't know if he knows where I stand politically, but he looked kind of mean.
Well, Victoria, he looked at everybody kind of mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And then he was there with his new baby mama, and she showed John pictures of their baby, and John, is friends with all the big shots. So I'm just following him around so I can have a ride to the party, and I was staying at the plaza so I could just go to sleep, there. But anyway, and I wasn't allowed a +1 because it was so crowded. So my husband was at the plaza waiting for me. So anyway, Lovitz goes up to McCartney like they're good old pals, and I'm standing there going, I can't believe I'm 1 inch away from a Beatle. And then they start to take a selfie, and I go, "Can I get in it?" And then McCartney put his arm around me.
Nice. And now I'm looking at it now. Now I see the Sandler. I see that. I just don't expect Adam to look so old. I mean, no offense. I'm old too, but I can see it now. It's Sandler, Paul McCartney, John Lovitz, and Victoria Jackson, icons of America and the UK, standing there all in a line. So a lot of people are talking about how it was a nostalgic show. It was they stayed mostly away from politics. I mean, they had the one moment with Tom Hanks in the MAGA hat, whatever. But for the most part, did you enjoy yourself? Was it a good time?
There was so much love in the room, and Adam Sandler's song.
Oh, it was good.
So it was so beautiful because it was all the things that everyone in the room was feeling. We were always afraid of getting fired. We were always afraid of Lauren. We were always thinking we didn't have enough lines. He wrapped them all up in that song, and he mentioned me. I was a little sad because when they showed the physical section, they left me out, and I was like, I was the most physical performer there. I did 5 handstands on the update desk, a tap dance. I flew through a window, and they didn't show any of my physical stuff. And I was thinking, well, that was kind of a slap in the face. And then Sandler sang and mentioned my name, and they showed me on the update desk, and I felt like I got a little kiss from. So I went up to, when I was taking that picture, I said, Adam, thank you for putting me in your song. And then the other highlight is I got to meet Jesus from The Chosen.
Oh, Caviezel? What's his James?
No, his
No. That's a different Jesus. Never mind.
Yeah, Jonathan Remy.
Yes, that
Remy,
Jesus.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay, so he was standing at the party before the show, and I thought, how do we know that guy? I have a deep emotional relationship with that fish. I know how I know him. So I asked Joe Piscopo's daughter, do you know him? She goes, no, go ask him. So I said, excuse me, who are you? And he said, oh, I'm on a show called The Chosen, and I go, you're Jesus! You're Jesus! I love that show! And so I hung out with him a while, and we went and met Jim Gaffigan, and
Hey, Victoria, but I don't mean to interrupt you, but you know the best part of the Chosen?
What?
We know how it turns out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yay, Jesus!
Yay, Jesus. That's right. Exactly. It turns out well. Anyway, I didn't mean to. So you met. So who was your favorite person? I mean, look, you are my favorite person that I've met in Nashville so far, right? I mean, Dolly Parton is above you. So I'm curious, who was your favorite person that you saw? Because it was like a who's who of American entertainment in that room last night.
Well, the highlight for me was meeting Jesus,
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, Jonathan Remy, or whatever, Rumi. Oh, my husband has to pay the taxi. Jonathan plays Jesus better than anyone I've ever seen. He gives him like a sense of humor, and I just love that. And McCartney, I guess.
Who did you sit next to? Do you remember?
You're tricking me because, well, you see, TMZ wanted a quote from me, and they're going to publish it tonight.
Uh-huh.
And they wanted me to comment on the Tom Hanks thing, that they made it out like MAGA supporters are racist and won't touch the hand of a black man.
No,
did you see that?
Yeah, I did, but it was a bad placement. They tried to do a callback to an earlier sketch, and it just fell flat, and it was stupid, and they shouldn't have done it.
Well, it was offensive. It really was.
Yeah, it was.
And somebody said something about the tired trope of MAGA people being racist, and of course it was offensive and stupid and not funny, but they wanted me to talk about it. And I was kind of talking about the fact that there was also sexual vulgarity. You know what? I'm not allowed. They told me I'm not allowed to give the same quote to other publications. So.
Well, I'm not a public. Victoria, this is just me and you talking. This is just us talking. I'm not a publication. You're okay.
Oh, okay. Tell everyone if they want to know my opinion of Trumpers being dissed, because I'm a big Trumper. I love Trump. Then they can watch TMZ. It posts at midnight.
Were there other? Do you feel like there were other Trumpers in the room? Quiet Trumpers.
Yes, I saw Rob Schneider. I have a feeling Adam Sandler is a closet Trumper.
Yeah.
Who else?
I think I think Kevin Costner is deep down. He's a Trumper. I think he is. I think.
Yeah.
What do you think? Am I wrong? You think I'm wrong? Kevin Costner? No.
I think you're right.
Okay, man. I think there's a lot of people that believe her.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of those people there who make a lot of money really resent paying taxes when they get sent to buy condoms for Afghanistans or something.
Right.
I think secretly they love Trump.
Victoria Jackson is with us. Obviously, she's an alum from SNL for many years. She lives right here in Middle Tennessee now. I know you've got to get on a plane, Victoria, but just I would love to have you in studio. We can talk a little about your health, but several people are asking me to ask you this because they remember the last visit that we had. You were going through a bit of a health scare. How's your health? How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. And in fact, I'm doing so good with my treatment. Radiation works. I'm breathing good. My pill, Ibrance, is working good. I'm doing so great that I tried to do a handstand in my hotel room because I was so excited, and I actually fell on my head.
Uh-oh.
And I heard, I'm 65, and I heard a crunch in my spine. So I will be going to get a scan this week at Vanderbilt Breast Clinic with my wonderful doctors there. But I'm walking and I'm talking, so I probably didn't do anything too terrible.
No, that's good news. That's good news. And we look forward to the next good update, Victoria. You know we love you on the Matt Murphy Show. We love you in Middle Tennessee. America loves you. One quick question. Was your boy Dennis there? I didn't see Dennis Miller there. What did he not make the trip?
I did not see Dennis Miller or Dana Carvey.
Yeah, I didn't see Dana either. And I thought I would have seen Dana. He's been on the show fairly recently, right? So I thought he would have been a part of it, but no Dana either. That's odd.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot. You've taught me a lot about how SNL works, and I just wanted to catch up with you because I know that they didn't treat you so well, and I feel like it was because of your political beliefs 10 years ago, and I'm glad they treated you well. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you got to experience it. You so deserve it, Victoria, and
Thank you.
have a wonderful flight home, and I'll hit you up, and we'll get you in studio soon, okay?
I got to tell you, I love Nashville. Of all the places I've lived, it's my favorite place, and the people in Nashville are the most awesome.
Well, yeah, I feel the same way, and I've only been here about 3 years, so I'm right there with you, Victoria. All right, love you.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. There's Victoria Jackson. I mean, if you know, you know.
Yeah, she was with Jan Hooks and Nora Dunn.
Oh, yeah.
Arguably three of the funniest women that were ever part of SNL.
I mean, it was Dennis Miller and Kevin Nealon and Victoria, Nora Dunn, Jan Hooks. This was Phil
Hartman, too.
Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
Just a resurgence. You know, Saturday night, anything that happens for 50 years, you go through lulls and valleys and highs and lows. Sure. And they had gone through a little bit of a low in the mid to late 1980s. And then the resurgence happened when the new cast came in 86 with Carvey. And I don't know if Phil Hartman was already there, but he got on board. And, man, that was right when I was 13 years old. That was right when I started watching SNL religiously. And so I fanboy over Victoria Jackson because that was my childhood, man.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. When she would do she did an American. You remember the handstand she did, and her skirt came down, and she had the American flag underwear on. And she's now a big Trump supporter. She's unabashedly a Trump supporter, and she felt like because she was a Republican conservative, she got a little jilted in the 40th anniversary special. She got put in a side room, and I was just happy that she got in the main room, and they treated her well last night. 24 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, so I wasn't sleeping so well at night. I did not know why, and I investigated whether or not I had sleep apnea. As soon as I discovered I did, I knew who to call. That's Dr. Stephen Poss, now Dr. Brian McLaughlin, the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. Dr. Poss walked me through the process of getting myself an FDA-approved oral device. I knew, and I told him, I was like, I can't wear a CPAP machine. I know that I can't wear a CPAP machine. It's just not something that is in my DNA. He said, no, man, that's why we exist. We exist to do that 3D scan of your mouth. We do a 3D printout of a device that is specific to your teeth and your mouth. It gently holds your jaw forward, allowing the air to go through freely without encumbrance. You breathe better, you don't snore, and you sleep better, and you don't stop breathing in the night. That's what it's all about at the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. 2 locations for your convenience, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Go to drposs.com. That's drposs.com. They're in network with most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee. Ask them about it when you go to drposs.com.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
A Delta regional jet flips upside down after landing in Toronto, and floodwaters receding in Tennessee, but slowly. Hear the stories of survival at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You go over to the WTN website. That's 997WTN.com, 997WTN.com. You'll find an evening with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That would be yours truly, Dan Mandis, Chad Benson, Chris Hand. Not necessarily in that order. It officially starts at 6 o'clock at Nashville Palace. Now, we call it an evening with Super Talk 99.7 WTN because it's not a State of the Union, despite the fact that President Donald J. Trump will be speaking before the nation and a joint session of Congress that evening. It's not technically known as the State of the Union during inauguration years, but, whatever. One way or the other, we're doing something. Nashville Palace, once again, doors will actually open earlier than 6. If you get there before 6 o'clock, I will already be there. I'll start my show at 3 o'clock. I'll move on until 6. At 6 o'clock, we'll have Chris and Chad and Dan join the party, and you are invited to be a part of the festivities as well. Now, tickets are available up on our website. Tickets, I don't know how much they are. I don't think it's a lot. I think it's like $40, but you get unlimited drinks, non-alcoholic, unlimited food. There's a big buffet spread going on, plus a tremendous amount of entertainment. We'll have goodies to give away. You'll get to watch my haircut, and I don't know who's going to cut my hair yet. So if
it's our Buzz Ken Weaver. We'll be popping.
Well, no, you know what was recommended to me by our own. Y'all know Representative Scott Sapicki, good friend of the show, Scott Sapicki, good friend of the station, Scott Sapicki.
Yes, sir.
He has written in and says, you know what would raise even more money for charity? If Matt cut off his hair and Ken shaved that goatee. Oh. I mean, that's Representative Scott Sapicki, Ken.
That's not going to happen. Because you're going to have to go through Mrs. Weaver to do that. And it ain't going to happen.
The more hair that covers my face, the better. That's the way I look at it. So,
well, it keeps me warm.
Well, I get that too.
Got a cold chin.
Gets a little sticky. Cold chin. Gets a little sticky in the summer, but in the winter it's right nice. All right. When we return, it's Kash Patel week, whether y'all know it or not. Kash Patel is the last big nominee for Donald Trump. Everybody else has gotten through. We will discuss where we are in that regard. And it is Trump America, baby, as demonstrated yesterday by the liberal freakout over Donald Trump stepping foot on the hallowed grounds of the Daytona International Superspeedway. That's to come on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. State Nashville road crews are pre-treating roads and interstates ahead of tomorrow's snow. Some secondary roads here in Nashville, too. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Toronto, at least 8 people injured after a Delta Airlines regional jet flipped upside down after landing. This is the tower from Live ATC.
There's people outside walking around the aircraft there. Yeah, we've got it. The aircraft's upside down and burning.
Alex Stone.
This was a 15-year-old Bombardier CRJ 900LR, or Canadian Regional Jet 900 long range. It has flown for a number of regional airlines over the 15 years. The focus will initially be on the weather. Toronto had 40-mile-per-hour wind and even stronger gusts above the ground as the plane was coming in for a landing with blowing snow on the ground. The question being how the aircraft ended up flipped over on its roof with its landing gear straight up in the air.
Nobody killed. All 80 people on board got off, but again, you had 8 injured, and some of those injuries are critical, they say. Here in Tennessee, search and rescue operations underway in heavily flooded far northwest Tennessee, Obion County. Closer to Nashville, at least 27 people had to be rescued from their flooded homes in Montgomery County. 3 people drove into high water, needing to be rescued in Robertson County. Happened along Cross Plains Road, where Roy DePriest lives, and tells Channel 4 it always floods there.
And most people that's lived here for a length of time know that it gathers water and it gathers snow. So, they're aware of it, but people do not, or be right in it and then can't get out.
Yeah, 52 people were removed from a nursing home in Macon County, had to be taken to a safer place. And in Murray County, a family of 3 escaped harm after a tree fell and split their mobile home in half. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash blocking the right shoulder, 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway. Then an accident, right shoulder block, 65 northbound at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Sadly, it's true. Like when somebody tells you it'll be ready at, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's not. People are tired of that stuff. If you've had unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to Eurofix. Eurofix turns unreliable into reliable. Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's really ready. You don't have to stand around waiting. When they tell you it's ready, it's ready. Eurofix fixes all European cars, so you don't have to worry about that, and they beat the dealer pricing. They beat the dealer pricing. And they do better than the dealer. The dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually everything in a dealership's overhead, and that's a lot of money. Why would you pay for all of that? Go to Eurofix and you don't have to. Reliable also means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car. Very popular, these loaner cars, so call ahead for the loaner cars. If you're tired of unreliable repair shop, come to where it's reliable. Eurofix for 26 years. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or go to MyEurofix.com. Tell them I sent you to MyEurofix.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Oh, yeah, come on. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. It's a holiday. Welcome on in. I mean, it doesn't feel like a holiday. Who the hell has President's Day off?
Most of the building downstairs.
Federal workers.
Had I think his name was Danny calling earlier. He works on an Air Force base.
Okay, that's government.
As an engineer.
So,
he says he doesn't.
Federal workers. So, all right, no, these are good answers. These are great answers. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Two great answers from Ken Weaver over in News Closet B and Mason Fleming behind the glass. He's controlling the experience today. In the well, I guess there's another answer.
Yeah. Mr. Chris Webber.
Chris Webber's got the day off.
Brother Chris got the day off.
Apparently, Joan Jones got the day off, too.
Yeah, she did.
That's right.
Yeah, she did.
Man, oh, man. Hey, Weaver, I'm the only one on this radio station that'll say it. Way to go, buddy. I mean, no, seriously, the boss of the news department's giving Joan the day off. Good for him, and he's coming in on
Dude, I don't have that kind of power. Are you kidding me? I've just got a hat.
You got a hat that says news director on it.
I got a hat, and they denied me a whistle.
I'll get you a clipboard. I need to get you a clipboard and a whistle for your birthday.
Get one of those whistles that have the beat in it, though, so you can't make no sound.
Coach Weaver.
Drop down and give me 20.
So, government employees. All right. So this is the extent of my list so far.
All right.
On who gets the day off. Government employees, banking folk.
Oh, yeah, banking folk.
Now, with government employees, that's all of them. That's federal, state, local, that's school teachers. Everybody at work gets checked from the government. They all have the day off. Banking folk, the stock exchange, and Cumulus Media offices. And Chris, I'm adding one more to it. And Chris Webber.
And Chris Webber.
And Joan Jones.
And Joan Jones.
And other than that, I don't know who gets the day off today. And my question is, on these days, like our national holidays, like I don't have such a, I mean, obviously, we are a nation. We are a nation of Christian people. And I always say it that way. That our founding fathers did not wish us to be a Christian nation, indicating Christian government, but they did wish us to be a nation of Christian people. They recognized us as a nation of Christian people. That was not to protect the government from Christianity. It was to protect Christianity from government. Okay? That's my take on it. I don't want it to be controversial. I'm not,
Too late, dude.
Well, ever. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's absolutely the truth. But, whatever. But we are a nation of Christian people. So, obviously, as a nation of Christian people, we recognize the faith-based reason to take off on December 25th. But you know what? Easter has never had to be an official holiday for the federal government because it's always on Sunday, obviously. I think it should be if it so happened that it fell on different days, but obviously it does not because of the significance of the holiness of the day. Thanksgiving. A national day of prayer and remembrance and to give thanks to those who have come before us and those who are with us that guarantee our freedoms and liberties and those that provide the blessings of freedom and liberty in the United States of America. Veterans Day, very appropriate. Memorial Day, obviously. Veterans Day, we honor all of our veterans. Memorial Day, we honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice to our nation. 4th of July, a.k.a. Independence Day, where we celebrate the uniqueness of the freedoms and liberties that we experience here in these United States of America. And then we get to second tier. I mean, I'm supposed to not criticize Martin Luther King Jr. Day because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I've always said that it should not be Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I say that only with the confidence that MLK, were he alive today, would agree with me. It should be called National Foot Soldiers Day. There was a very, very great disparity amongst how people were treated from a civil rights perspective in the 1940s, 1950s. Before then, and it was repaired in the 1960s. With certain pieces of legislation that we as a society determined were necessary so as to not treat people differently based on conditions that they had nothing to do with, conditions of their birth. That is altogether right and proper. We decided that as a society, and we voted on it as a government. But I believe it should be celebrating those movements in their totality. I understand that MLK becomes a symbol of that movement, and so I don't, it's not a hill I die on, but we ought to call it National Foot Soldiers Day. Labor Day? I mean, what? That's the unofficial start of football season, right? Okay, sure. Whatever.
It's an excuse to have less labor?
It is a celebration of the labor movement.
Yeah.
It is a celebration of, in some cases, communists that fell out in California, Cesar Chavez or whatever the hell his name was. I got nothing for President's Day. I just don't. And for those that do, just help me out. Tell me what I'm missing. We don't do anything on President's Day except buy mattresses or sheets. We got a white sale going on. I mean, look, no families are sitting around the fireplace this afternoon, this evening, reminiscing about Millard Fillmore or Chester Arthur. Nobody. If we can ditch the penny, if we can make daylight saving time permanent, then by Donald Trump and the good Lord, we can get rid of President's Day. I say dump President's Day. Just get rid of it. Y'all don't need another holiday. The only reason that there is not more movement to this movement is because we have millions of people that like to have the day off. Well, I say take your vacation day. That's what you get it for. Some of you, not you, Mason. Don't look at me that way. You'll get one eventually, one of these days.
We'll see.
I'm just throwing it down. I just don't understand. Well, and Sandra said I forgot Good Friday, and that is true. I don't believe that Good Friday is, I think many states have Good Friday as a holiday. I don't think Good Friday is a federal, I don't think there's a federal recognition. But I do think that some states offer Good Friday as a holiday, religious-based though it may be, or as it is. There aren't many other, as a matter of fact, I had this pulled up earlier. There aren't that many, there are a lot of holidays that we consider federal holidays that aren't really federal holidays. I mean, obviously, there are many that we celebrate that that do not qualify as federal holiday. I'm looking here on the U.S. Office of Personnel Management about federal holidays, and let's see. Well, let's go. Let's pull it down there. Federal law establishes public holidays listed on these pages for federal employees. Please note the federal holidays employees working Monday through Friday schedule, and then you pull it down, and of course, like anything else, it's a government website, and it doesn't work. Oh wait, here we go. Let's download this puppy. Official federal. No, I don't know. Why are you trying to get into my calendar? This is just like the government. They're trying to get into my calendar. Get out of my calendar. One way or the other. Like Valentine's Day is not an official federal holiday.
Nope.
St. Patrick's Day is not official. Columbus Day. I don't think. Is Columbus Day an official day?
I don't think
so. If so, Columbus Day's got to go. Arbor Day out.
For it. Absolutely for it.
Columbus Day out. Juneteenth, relatively new. I don't necessarily need it, but I'm not going to fuss about it, because if I fuss about it, I'll get called racist. So there.
Columbus Day is one of the federal holidays.
Out.
Get it out.
Get it out. Don't need it. Use your own days. Susan is up with a thought on President's Day. Maybe I could be convinced that President's Day is okay, I suppose. You'd have to do a lot of convincing, though. Hello, Susan.
Hello. In days gone by, we celebrated Washington's birthday, we celebrated Lincoln's birthday, all in the month of February. And so they combined it all and put it all in President's Day. So it's just a combination of celebrating presidents, honoring them for their birthdays. Not necessarily important, but just to, realize the importance of those presidents. So that's reason, and they combined it all into one day. We used to get 2 separate days for Lincoln and Washington, so that's why we have President's Day now.
Well, and yes, ma'am, and we kind of went over that during the first hour. That
I'm sorry.
No, it's no biggie. I just want to to reiterate what you're saying, right? Washington's birthday is on the 22nd. Lincoln's birthday. Oh, Susan, don't get into a altercation there. You all right over there?
No.
You good?
Yeah, I'm in traffic.
Oh, no. Well, no, thank you. No, it bears repeating, and thank you, Miss Susan, for the call. So, yeah, I mean, you understand the history of the day is, and Susan was putting it perfectly, that we celebrated George Washington's birthday. He's the he's the father of the United States of America, obviously. Our first president of the United States, established so much of the executive branch of government. That clearly he is the. I mean, I don't know of another defining figure outside of George Washington in terms of our country. If I had to name one, I mean, he would be the one, right? I mean, Thomas Jefferson's pretty up there too, considering that he wrote the Declaration of Independence and served as our third president. But George Washington is the father of our country. I don't disagree with honoring that which he has done, but I tend to disagree with any day that honors men, individual men, in any capacity. Washington's birthday, Dallas has written in a subject that we've gone over. Gosh, Dallas, the show starts at 3. You've got to catch up. We went over the fact that Washington's birthday was on the 11th, and that was an old count. I mean, I don't mean to have that tone with you, Dallas. I apologize. Yes, we talked about it. The Julian calendar versus the Gregorian calendar. Originally, his birthday was on the 11th. He changed it to the 22nd as a result of the changeover to the Gregorian calendar, and so we celebrated it on the 22nd until such time as government employees were grumpy enough because they didn't like taking a day in the middle of the week, so they had the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which moved the day to the third Monday of February. I don't think we should celebrate it at all. I think we should celebrate our presidents every day that we live in this great country. I think we should talk about George Washington, and it's why these months that we have, whether it's Indian American Month or Native American Month or Black American History Month, we should celebrate all of these things in a colorblind fashion and learn about them in a colorblind fashion. I mean, maybe that's just Murphy land that doesn't really exist, but that's the way that I would have it. Dallas, you're all good, man. I don't mind you at all. Dallas, y'all educate me on the super text line. That's all good. When I'm not saying it, y'all say it over there. In the meantime, here we have a day off for many of you, or some of you. But once again, outside of government employees, the banking industry, the stock exchange, and I suppose a lot of companies take the day off. I guess I have not taken the day off. I've not taken President's Day off in. I mean this in my life. I cannot remember ever taking a President's Day off.
I think I've probably taken one or two off.
I just can't recall it, Ken. You know what I mean?
I was just looking for another day.
Well, hey, but we get to bank the day. That's what we're
That's
banking.
right. We're
today.
banking it.
We're banking.
We're banking it.
Banking this day. Ken and I are banking this day, Mason.
What's that like?
What about you?
I thought banks were closed today.
Yeah, you can't do any banking today, so you got to bank the day before you put all that large amount of money that you're making in the bank there,
I'll
buddy boy.
figure it out eventually.
So
taxes take it home.
So in Trump's America, liberals have freaked out about the fact that Donald Trump had the audacity to waste taxpayer dollars going to the Daytona 500. I have some of the audio for you. How dare he want to save us money? He's not serious about Doge. If he were serious about Doge, he wouldn't have. He wasted $5 million. They came up with the figure. They claimed that he wasted $5 million. You know, y'all liberals out there, I remember when $5 million was scary. Now it's like a drop in the bucket. We're trying to save trillions, y'all. Trillions. Elon's saving billions. We just found $1.9 billion over there at the Department of Labor just past Friday. We dipped $5 million out of that so Trump could go to Daytona 500. We'll talk about that in just a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I have a question for you. How much do you pay for your health insurance? How much did you pay for your health insurance in the past year? You know, Shane Ring and I talked about this, and as I sat down with Shane Ring in his offices in Brentwood, because that's right, Shane is local to our community, which is very important to me. Oftentimes, you're talking to somebody about insurance that's halfway around the country, halfway around the world. Shane's right here. He'll talk with you on the phone if that's your desire, or meet you in his office. And when we sat down, he talked to me not only about how most often people don't have the right coverage for themselves, they don't understand how to use their coverage in a way that pays you, not the other way around. Health insurance tailored to your needs that can work for you and pay you. That's what Shane does. Don't get taken advantage of. Don't overpay. Take control of your money right now. Take control of your health insurance right now with Cover Nash. He's a local health insurance expert right here in Middle Tennessee, and Shane Ring can examine your coverage. And here's the great thing. If you're right, he'll say, congratulations, you're right on. I can do nothing for you, but odds are he can help save you money or get you better coverage in the long run. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023, or go to covernash.com. Tell him Murphy sent you to covernash.com.
State and local road crews prepping the roads for snow, and a Delta regional jet with 80 people on board flips upside down after landing in Canada. These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. Y'all want to feel old? Ken, at least you. You want to feel old?
Already do.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I love it. I just embrace it.
I do too. I mean, yeah, it beats Plan B.
Yeah.
That's what Pa used to say.
Yes, sir.
Pa said, getting old as hell beats Plan B.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they got two directions.
Yeah.
Forward or down. You ever watch that 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club?
Yes.
The Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Had the criminal and the athlete and the princess and the basket case and the nerd.
Yes.
The Breakfast Club is 40 years old.
Goodness.
40 years old. Just
goodness.
I'll just leave that right there for those of you that grew up in the 1980s to reminisce on. 40 years old. And I'd like to remind you of something I say. I use this meme more than almost any other on my social media platforms regarding Donald J. Trump. When the liberals are howling and getting all nasty and talking about, oh, you can't do that. What is he doing? You mess with the bull, young man. Remember when I forget what the principal, his name was.
What was his name?
I got to get that because principal, his name was Richard because at one point.
Yeah, that's right.
Referring to his name, Richard, he says, show Dick some respect.
Yeah.
But it was something, but yeah, oh man. You mess with the bull, young man. You get the horns.
I love the way he pointed at him, too, with the two fingers.
He gives it one of these.
Oh, my man.
Principal Richard Vernon.
Principal Vernon. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, I've got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? I'll give you the answer to that question, Mr. Bender, next Saturday. You mess with the bull, young man. You get the horns. Such a great.
That was big trouble back then, boy.
Who shut that door? Who shut that door?
Yeah.
Wanted to know, boy. They screwed over Vernon, though. Hey, 40 years old, The Breakfast Club. I feel like I keep promising to get to stuff, and I don't. And I'm sorry. That's a bad habit of mine. I'm trying to break it. So we'll get to Trump's America, the Daytona 500, the liberal freakout, and my rant on the Democrats and how they are reacting to everything that's going on with the Department of Government efficiency. Because they don't seem very interested in waste, fraud, and abuse anymore, despite the fact that for the last 30 years they've claimed that they're all on board. We'll do that next. We'll take your telephone calls. Jim, you'll be first up. Open lines available, 615-737-9986. It's time for the news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey.
Yikes.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're bracing up to 4 inches of snow here in some parts of Middle Tennessee. A TDOT spokesperson telling Channel 4 what's going on to make sure roads are as safe as possible.
They're going to be plowing roads as soon as we have enough snow to plow. We will also be salting as soon as there is any kind of trouble spots as we see it. But we will have shifts. They will be working 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Nashville crews pre-treating roads as well. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. At least 15 people have been taken to hospitals after a Delta flight out of Minneapolis crashed and flipped upside down while landing on the snow-covered runway at Toronto Pearson International Airport today.
There's people outside walking around the aircraft there. Yeah, we've got it. The aircraft's upside down and burning.
That's Toronto Tower talking to a helicopter first responder, courtesy of Live ATC. Aaron Katursky.
The investigation is very much already underway, at least pulling records, passenger manifests. Very quickly, they were able to account for everybody who was on board because they were able to evacuate on their own. And as you heard from the air traffic control speaking to the medevac helicopter, so the crew undoubtedly did a good job at getting everybody out.
80 passengers on board. What a deadly weekend due to everything from winter storms to severe thunderstorms and rain. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says the death toll's 11 in his state.
We are still in the search and rescue phase of this emergency. We still have multiple different missions that are underway. There are still people that are in harm's way.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, 27 people had to be rescued from their homes in Montgomery County, 3 people in Robertson County. 52 nursing home residents had to be moved to a safer facility in Macon County on Saturday, and 3 people escaped unharmed when a tree fell and split their mobile home in half while they slept in Murray County. Meanwhile, Alex Perez covering far northwest Tennessee.
In Reeve, Tennessee, the levee failing.
That's about 4 hours they've been in the water.
Residents Denny and Karen Stow had to be taken to safety by boat before driving themselves to Union City, Tennessee. They spoke to ABC News from their hotel room.
We're fortunate enough that we can stay at a hotel tonight, but what's going to happen tomorrow, the next night, we don't know.
Complicating things here, the area now bracing for snow and plummeting temperatures as we head into the week.
And on this President's Day, rallies underway to protest DOGE. Meanwhile, Mary Bruce says 15,000 workers at the IRS facing potential layoffs. Others could be barred from entering Federal Aviation Administration buildings tomorrow.
We've heard stories of people who have gotten email notices that they have lost their job at midnight, even when their own supervisors and advisors didn't know. People who were locked out of their email and HR systems before they could figure out whether they would still have health insurance.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Spring Hill got a crash blocking the right shoulder 65 southbound at I-840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. For those of you not honoring your American presidents by taking the day off, lounging around and doing nothing, you're probably just getting off work, just getting in your automobiles, wondering what the rest of us are doing. Well, we're just meandering about the studio or the newsroom, news closet B as I call it, or our control area, just, making the day, doing what we can. There's Mason.
Hey.
There's Ken Weaver.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon,
Indeed.
boys.
And my name is Matt Murphy, and it's our 751st day together on these airwaves. Thank you for being around with us. You can find us on 99.7 FM from Alabama to Kentucky and all points in between.
All the way up to Bowling Green.
Oh, yeah, we get up there on a good day when the transmitter's not having issues, overheating, which is occasional. I mean, we get so hot on this radio show that occasionally we overheat the transmitter. And they have to worry about the AC out there. That's what happened last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got so hot, the dang thing overheated, they had to cool it off, cool it down.
Which is surprising for what we're experiencing currently.
Yeah, I know. But I tell you, when I'm telling you we're a blowtorch, we're a blowtorch. That's 100,000 watts over there. Then you got the app. I mean, take us wherever you go. You download our app, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You can find out a lot about us. You can find out a lot about the radio station, a lot about our event on March 4th. More on that in a moment. And then, of course, any app that downloads and plays music or talk or information or sports or podcast, you can find us. Just type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Then, of course, there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You're invited to be on that side of things. See what ugly people they put on the radio by going over to the talk side of things. And remember what Ken Weaver likes to tell you. I beg of you to just like and subscribe the darn thing because it costs. What does it cost you, Ken?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. That's what the man said.
I mean, you might get a little callus on your thumb from it, but
maybe.
I mean,
heck, if you want to go over there and give us the old, if I'm not doing my job, give us the old thumbs down.
Yeah, we've been asking for the same thing on the Chris Ann show.
What, the thumbs down?
Yeah, it still tickles the algorithm.
I mean, y'all have to ask?
No. I mean, they're not used to it.
I couldn't help myself.
Please give us thumbs down.
I heard y'all were on a toot about it, and y'all got like 70 likes or something like that.
Today we did 96. Yeah, and then last Friday we did 124. I think.
There you go.
Way to go, Brother Mason.
Good,
I mean, there you go. And you're doing that with so fewer viewers than I have on my show. That's pretty impressive.
I don't know.
Activity, baby. Activity. That's what
How
it's
we
all
looking
about.
today. I'm
friendly,
just saying.
Friendly competition. Well, it's a holiday, for goodness sake.
Hey, more people at home.
Everybody's off, hanging out. Yeah, well, right. Good for you, bad for me. Good for you, bad for me.
One of my buddies from Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, texted me, and he said, I turned the TV on looking for weather, and this popped up, and it's me and you, Murphy.
Well.
I said, hey, Branch, how's it going, man?
What's up, buddy? Don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're a forecast.
We're all over the place, dude.
I tell you what, that's typically the way that I roll. I was looking for my darn weather. Oh, here it is, my darn weather forecast. So the National Weather Service has issued a storm warning for parts of Tennessee and southern Kentucky ahead of a midweek snowfall. Monday afternoon, that would be today. Yeah, I'm just checking. National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning for, Benton, Carroll, Henry, Cheatham, Clay, Davidson, Dixon, Fentress, Houston. Is it Houston or Houston? Houston. Houston. Humphreys, Jackson, Macon, Montgomery, Overton, Pickett, Robertson, Smith, Stewart, Sumner, Trousdale, and Wilson. No Williamson in there, I guess.
Well, what I'm seeing is we got two things going on.
Okay.
We got a winter storm warning for everybody you just mentioned, which is pretty much along and north of 40.
Okay.
And then everybody along and south of 40 is under a winter weather advisory.
There you have it. There you go. So it's right along that line, that I-40 line. And, man, it just every darn town, has it been this way with you, Weaver? Every darn town I've ever lived in Birmingham, Alabama, it's I-20.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, south of I-20 is going to be this, and north of I-20 is going to be different.
Yes.
And in our beautiful region, it's I-40. Well, south of I-40 is going to be this. And north of I-40 is going to be this.
Yeah. And it's usually either along and west of 65 or it's just everybody.
That's right. That's right. It's one of the you never hear, well, east of 65 is bad off. You west of 65, y'all are fine.
Whew.
Y'all are getting it one way or the other, west of 65.
Yeah.
So there's your weather forecast for those who need to be in the know. If you're getting off work today, perhaps you're putting in a day. There you go. So it's coming in tomorrow night at around, 9 o'clock tomorrow night?
Yeah, what I've seen is it's going to be starting at 9 and then going all the way until Wednesday night.
Yeah. Intermittently.
Intermittent. We could see up to 4 inches in some places of Middle Tennessee.
Well, I wish Gary and Glenda the best. I'm asking what we should name the female groundhog at the house.
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way. It has to start with a G.
Well, absolutely. Well, it's Gary and
whomever. Glenda. I can't go Glenna because I think of Johnny B and Glenna, so I'm not going to do that. But Gigi.
Gigi, yeah.
Gary and Gigi the groundhog.
Yeah.
Or we could just say Mrs. Gary. I don't know.
Well, let's name her Imogene.
Imogene.
Little Imogene. Growing up, all the piano players in the churches I was brought in were either Carmelita or Imogene.
Carmelita?
Yes. And I always liked Imogene.
I like it. Imogene, Gary and Imogene groundhog. I mean, but see, Imogene, when I say that way, Imogene in her femininity.
She's confident.
She's she could be Garita. Gary and Garita. Anyway, we for those who missed it, for some reason I'm telling you that we now have a Mrs. Groundhog in the backyard. And Gary, I mean, he's been gone for like a month and a half, 2 months. He's been gone. He's been hibernating, and now he's coming out with her showing off.
Dang.
Let me show you your baby. Let me tell you something. When I tell you there's free taters out here, you're going to see.
He's bragging
he
to
said
her.
taters and carrots, and then before you know it, there's carrots out there because you know who takes them out there for them.
I got these people right where I want them, Imogene.
Let me tell you something, Imogene. These people, they are pushovers. Not only do they not come after you, they feed you. And those dogs, they do some barking. They ain't going to bite. You don't worry about that. Slow, fat and slow. Those hound dogs. They are, too. So Donald Trump went to Daytona yesterday and freaked every liberal out because the liberals can't imagine that Donald Trump can suggest that we're wasting money in the American government and then waste money by going to the Daytona 500. Here's what I would argue. I would argue that even if I give you the amounts that the liberals are throwing out there, roughly $5 million, I'm going to suggest to you that is money well spent because Donald Trump recognizes how pathetic our nation has been over the last 4 years. At least, not our nation, not our nation's people. I should rephrase that. Our nation's leadership. How weak we have looked over the last 4 years. Sadly, Joe Biden couldn't go to the Daytona 500 and walk around that track if he wanted to because he was too physically unable, too physically and mentally infirm in order to do so. Every situation in which Joe Biden was out and about had to be carefully managed by his handlers. Every word that he spoke had to be carefully managed by his handlers, lest we discover the nature and the true depth of his physical and mental infirmity. So you tell me that wasn't money worth spent. I tell you that Donald Trump can, walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, which he did yesterday because some were saying, oh, the president's at Daytona 500 while Kentucky's got people dying. By the way, Governor Andy Beshear, last time I checked, a Democrat, thanked Donald Trump yesterday for approving the request for an emergency disaster declaration for the state of Kentucky. The federal funding is available for the impacted areas, helping them better respond and support affected Kentuckians. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have broken liberals so much that they're out here acting like they're somehow budget hawks on all of this. Democrats talking about millions. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they're popping trillions, baby. Popping trillions. Donald Trump parades around Daytona 500 and, let's see.
I know, I can't wait. And Donald Trump taking some hot laps.
There he is.
We expect to talk to the president. And a little later, Morgan Freeman, will hear from him live on Fox.
Oh, yeah, it was on Fox television, and there's Donald Trump parading around. And I've been told by numerous people that it's not officially called the Beast, the presidential limousine. I don't pretend. Apparently, Dan Bongino goes off when you call it the Beast because he has that Secret Service background. It's informally known as the Beast, folks. Let's calm down. But all the liberal minds exploding on social media platforms yesterday, wanting to know, well, where's the Department of Government Efficiency now on this one? Donald Trump parading around Daytona 500. That cost us millions of dollars. Air Force One cost $1 million to operate. The presidential motorcade's $500,000. Secret Services, $1 to $2 million, and on they go. They're talking millions, baby, when we're dealing with billions and trillions. Billions and trillions. MAGA has no right to lecture us about wasteful spending. What do you think? This is the political left on social media. So I know that Trump and Elon Musk have broken liberals when they're out here on these streets acting like budget hawks, okay? I know that y'all are broken. Number two, I would suggest to you that this is money well spent. Well spent. And here's why. The American people have been told, not just for the last 4 years, but truly during the Trump presidency, they were told the same thing by the mainstream media and other way too powerful, too big for their britches liberal minds, all throughout the Obama administration. I mean, despite the fact that in 2008, we broke a barrier, if you will. Now, Barack Obama was never my guy. He was never going to be my guy. He's a liberal at best, socialist most likely, and more definitively, more accurately. Make no mistake, Barack Obama was never going to be my guy, but I was never one to dismiss the significance of him being the president of the United States, the first African-American president, self-identified African-American president of the United States of America. We break through that glass ceiling, and all of a sudden, the liberals in America tell us that we need to be ashamed of ourselves, unlike we've ever been ashamed of ourselves, that we don't need to direct ourselves to American greatness. We need to talk about the negatives that have existed in our country, and only the negatives, that we need to be ashamed of this country. And we've been told that for a long time. Part of the reason that Donald Trump was elected in 2016, part of the reason that he was re-elected in 2020, I misspoke. 2024. Was because Americans are sick to death of being told that we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We don't pretend that we're perfect. Of course we're not. We don't pretend that there haven't been evils in our country. Of course there have. We don't pretend that there is negative that comes with so much of the positive. But here's what we also know about American exceptionalism, that on balance, we were, have been, and are the greatest country ever devised by man on God's earth. And it's about time that we had a leader that wasn't ashamed to say it. I love the fact that Donald Trump goes to the Daytona 500, an American institution, and he raises his hand to the glory of God Almighty and to the glory of this nation. He says what we all think, that we are the greatest nation. We remain the greatest nation. We are the freest nation, and we ought to hold on to that so dear. It's so precious. We could lose it. Ronald Reagan said it, that the precious nature of our nation, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, the precious nature of our nation is no more than one generation or even one vote away. I love the fact that Donald Trump celebrates the greatness of our country and isn't ashamed of it, and reminds us that in order to be great, we must insist that we are great and that we keep pressing forward, and that everything that we do, there's nothing wrong in this world with suggesting that everything that we do should be to advance American exceptionalism and American greatness around the globe. That doesn't mean that we have to do that against someone else. That isn't balanced. We don't become great by pressing others down. We become greater by lifting everyone else up. And you don't do that through handouts, and you don't do that through USAID. You do that in part as an example to the rest of the world. And that's what we saw yesterday at the Daytona 500. Donald Trump with his little granddaughter there with her little dress on, a little cap, said, "Make America Great Again." Absolutely loved every single bit of it. And it was mere icing on the cake that the liberals lost their ever-loving mind. And I would juxtapose these two things real quick. Sunday, yesterday, and the Daytona 500, and the manner in which they treated the presidential appearance, and the way that the Super Bowl treated the presidential appearance. Look it. They didn't say as much, but it was almost as if they wanted to not mention that the president was there, as if they were afraid of it. The Daytona 500 embraced it. Fox Television embraced it. Good for them. They should. He's our president. You don't have to like him. You don't have to appreciate his policies, but I love the fact that it was normal in terms of our appreciation, and the people talking on my television treated it as such. They treated the president with the respect that he deserves. You know, I even treat Joe Biden with certain levels of respect when he's president of the United States, whether he deserves it or not. I imagine some of you liberals listening right now feel the same way about Trump, but respect he will get, and respect America will get under his leadership. That's $5 million well spent. Daryl will get to you. Jim, you too. I promised you, Jim, but it's 22 after the hour, so I do this real quick and back to your calls on a holiday edition of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk. Hello, friends. If you're out and about over the next several days, I understand that the weather might keep you indoors, but when you get out, why not head on out to Savory Spice? You know, with the cold conditions, you might do yourself well to go over to Savory Spice tomorrow. You can go to L&L Market in Nashville on Charlotte Pike, or you can go in Franklin. If you're in the Franklin area, they're right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. You know the Gray's Pharmacy sign right next to that. You'll see them. The Savory Spice awning is right out there. You'll smell the smells before you walk through the door and say hello to Holly or David or whomever is in the shop today. They're all knowledgeable as the day is long. They can all help you. Ask them, say, Murphy told me to come in here and ask you about your soups and your stews, specifically your Spice and Easy line. They've got the Sunday pot roast. I've had this. Oh, it's so good. And there's no thought involved, right? You get the crock pot out. They tell you what to get in terms of meat and veggies. You put that in there. They tell you exactly what to do. You put your spices in there. It's all done for you. And then 6-8 hours later, you've got a delicious meal for you and your entire family. So good on these cold winter days. It's Savory Spice, the Spice and Easy line found exclusively at Savory Spice locations in Nashville, L&L Market, in Franklin, just off the square. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a Guaranteed Offer and start packing.
All right, Nashville and TDOT crews getting ready for the big snow headed Middle Tennessee's way. And the very latest on that Delta Airlines regional jet that flipped upside down upon landing in Toronto this afternoon. Coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. We'll get to your calls momentarily on the Matt Murphy Radio Show. I still have my treatment on Trump's America when it comes to Democrat freakout over the Department of Government Efficiency. That's on the way. Talk to you about J.D. Vance over in Europe at the Munich Security Summit and the reaction to some of his language. Plus, Margaret Brennan inexplicably decided that Nazi Germany flourished because they weaponized because of free speech. That free speech was used against the Germans and weaponized against the Germans. It was utilized, and that more free speech would lead to more Nazi Germanys. According to Margaret Brennan. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. We'll also have Nincompoops in the news. Ken Weaver is fully aware that Nincompoops in the news come up at 5:30. Are you aware of what we do at 5:35, 5:37 every Monday through Friday there, Mr. Fleming?
Nobody tells me anything over
Well,
here.
you've got to come up with a story about a nincompoop. That's it. That's it.
Oh, I got one. It's a personal story.
Oh, well, see, that works just fine. That's right. And then the audience, see, we all go around the room. We tell our nincompoop story.
Yeah.
And then and the audience votes on who they think has the nincompoop of the day, the true nincompoop in the news.
Sometimes it's as easy as typing in naked man in Florida.
Well, there's a lot of that. I've long said that if there's a story about nakedness, monkeys, Florida, or Waffle House, I'm in.
I got a good Florida story, too.
I found a story one time that had to do with a naked dude inside a Waffle House in Florida. And I thought, man, if that guy had a monkey, I'd retire.
Or an alligator.
I mean,
that'd be the trifecta.
I mean, tell you what. Oh, monkey and an alligator.
Yeah.
Hey, now you're talking.
That's a Waffle House experience.
Oh.
I've seen worse.
Yeah.
And they get on Waffle House. So that's on the way. Right now, it's Jim's turn. Jim is in Coopertown. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Matt. How are you doing this evening?
Great, Jim. Thank you.
Of course you are. No, going back to your we should get rid of President's Day, I just want to point out when you listed everybody that gets the day off, government workers, the stock market, banks, don't they all live off our money?
They do. They do. Well, I mean,
the people who work to make the money have to work, and the people that live off the money we make get to take the time off.
That's a good point.
Of sorts.
Jim, that's a good point.
I've never heard it put that way.
But I
don't know how I feel about this now.
Now that you put it that way, I got to get on the other side of this deal, or I'm going to double down on being against it.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to go for Grogu in honor of Brian Wilson.
Oh, that's not a bad call there. Gary and Grogu Groundhog. Little Grogu.
Grogu 2.
Grogu 2 Groundhog.
Electric Boogaloo.
Grogu 2? You? Okay. You guys have a nice evening.
Thanks, Gary. Jim, pardon me. I called Jim the Groundhog's name. Thank you, Jim. That's good.
Speaking of other groundhog names, we had quite a few in the chat. I saw one, Greta.
Oh, Greta's good.
Geraldine. I thought was a good one.
Yes. Geraldine.
From Nick Alcorn over in the YouTube chat there. I thought that one was good.
Gertrude's pretty good.
Gertrude's pretty good.
How about Guinevere?
Ooh.
Guinevere. Gidget.
Gidget's good.
I like them all. I like them all. Y'all keep them good. Gina is a good one. Gloria. Oh, Gloria. We could name Gloria the Groundhog after Gloria Johnson over there in the Tennessee General Assembly. No. You know, I did say
your head a lot.
Well, I did say she was a big one. I did, Ken. Listen.
I just do the news. I just do the news.
Those hands.
I said earlier that the female groundhog was a lot chunkier than the little Gary fella, and I mean I've seen pictures.
Ken, don't pull out your beard hairs.
I've never met Gloria. I'm sure she's a delight. I invite her on the show every time I can via the social media platform. I know we've got to do the news. We've got people that listen to our show every time, like Steve. every time she posts something on the X machine, he asks her when she's coming on my show. Every time she posts. It has to drive her mentally insane.
She has to do it now just to
Oh, man. Y'all do
clean the
that.
slate.
At Gloria J, I think her name is. Y'all do that as much as you can because I love driving these liberals insane. It's 32 after the hour.
Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes, and that Delta Airlines regional jet that crashed upon landing in Toronto. Coming in from Minneapolis, Aaron Katersky says it flipped upside down on that snow-covered runway.
Both American and Canadian authorities will investigate, try to figure out what happened. We know that there was snow, there was wind, there was a chill in the air, but we don't know whether any of that was a factor as this plane was coming in for a landing with 76 passengers and 4 crew members on board.
ABC News contributor and retired Marine fighter pilot Colonel Steve Gagner says it's still safe to fly despite all these incidents involving planes recently.
We can't see any thread of commonality between any of these mishaps that we've seen in the past few weeks. So nothing to say that there's a problem or there's something where we can point to and say that they've caused these mishaps.
At least 15 people went to hospitals, but none of the injuries were described as life-threatening. Flooding in Tennessee. This woman among residents in an apartment complex off Concord Road in Clarksville yesterday who had to swim to safety.
And I was getting police-like knocks on my door with water gushing in. I mean, it was a decent amount already. It was above the first staircase of the apartment, so we were all just swimming, trying to fight for our lives to get out.
27 rescues in all in Montgomery County yesterday. President Trump has signed a natural disaster declaration for Kentucky to free up as many resources as possible. Governor Andy Beshear says the death toll from flooding in his state has grown to 11.
You look at the number of people we've already lost and the damage. This is one of the most serious weather events we've dealt with in at least a decade. We've certainly had our share, and this is another significant one.
More than 1,000 swift water rescues there in Kentucky, and they continue. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, South Nashville, police reporting a crash 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike in Williamson County. TDOT reports a crash on the right shoulder 65 southbound at I-840. And then in Rutherford County, we've got Highway Patrol reporting a crash 24 eastbound there in Smyrna. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to spend a moment talking about Stoltz Co. They are custom pole barns and buildings like you have never imagined. Stoltz Co. prides themselves on producing higher quality buildings at a more reasonable price than anyone in the market today. It's why when you hear about a pole barn, when you hear about an equestrian space, when you hear about a barn dominium or a garage or an event space or just a foundation, for goodness sake, you don't hear about anybody but Stoltz Co. It's because they have taken over Middle Tennessee with their incredible prices and their incredible work. When you go online to Stoltz Co., you'll see that no matter how big or small, they will make it happen. Every new construction is built with your needs in mind. Stoltz Co. will take your design and they will build it. The guys will be on time. The quality of work will be incredible. All you need to do is make the call and sit down with the gang at Stoltz Co., and you will immediately see the Stoltz Co. difference. Leading company in first-class customer service with the creation of post-frame buildings, barn dominiums, pole barns, garages, etc. Go to StoltzCo.com. Spell it STOLTZCO.com. StoltzCo.com, or call 615-622-5992. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. 622-5992 to Stoltz Co.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up in a few moments, we'll have a little Nincompoops in the News. Are you familiar with the Nincompoops in the News sounder, Mason? I mean,
I'm not, but I can get very curious and very explorative on this board.
I mean, I probably should have had a conversation with you right before the show about all that. I bet you can find it up on the board there. I bet.
Yeah, that's what
Chris Weber's got it on
for. He's a
got it
smart
on the
man.
big board.
Look up what's happening.
Yeah. I could do it. I mean, I could do it. I could just do it. I mean, you know, if we need to. I'll just do it.
I might prefer that.
Nincompoops. I got a big voice guy going, Anyway.
That's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, my God.
Good.
Rerun.
Rerun.
The opening, the original, I don't know if they cut the original opening after this first season, but where they bum a ride on the truck. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The guys bum a ride on the truck, and then they don't let Rerun on the truck. He's running after the truck. There's nothing like a fat guy trying to run and get on a pickup truck.
Well, and before they showed Rerun, remember Dwayne and Raj were like throwing a football.
Uh-huh.
Then they look up and it's Rerun on a balcony. He's got a glass of pop and a piece of cake.
That's Rerun. Anyway, more on that coming up in just a moment. I love these types of super text. 528 says, that was a damn good point. That's it.
Probably talking about how all the people who have the day off on President's Day are paid by taxpayer money.
I think that's the one. Actually, I said, which one did I finally make one? And he says, finally, naturally, we don't always align, but you often make good points. The guy that said about who's off today and who's still working never thought of it that way before. I hadn't either, but he's absolutely correct. People that live off our money they're at home.
I mean, they've got every holiday off.
Yeah, it seems so. It seems that's about the case. BJ says we had a Grady the groundhog that turned out to be Greta the groundhog. She has now had 4. Well, we're going to have some babies, I guess. I mean, that's what we're assuming.
All right.
We're assuming that it's about groundhog love.
Groundhog love.
Remember that muskrat love?
Yeah. Yeah. Had the sound of a muskrat in it.
Was that Captain and Tennille?
Yeah.
So weird.
Captain and Tennille.
Weird. Daryl, get in on this before we get to nincompoops in the news, buddy.
All right.
What's on your mind?
Hey, talking about Trump, being at the Daytona 500, maybe somebody needs to remind these lefties that Biden took 577 days of vacation throughout his 4-year term. That's 48 years worth of vacations in 4 years, says Newsmax. The New York Post posted the same thing. So maybe they need to bring that up and how much ice cream he ate while he was on vacation.
Amen, brother. Ice cream paid for by your and my tax dollars. Look, every president of the United States moves about the country. I appreciate the fact that we have a president that's willing to go to where the people are, willing to shake the people's hands, willing to talk about the greatness of this United States of America and celebrate our great institutions like Super Bowls or Daytona 500s or whatever they might be. I mean, hell, do y'all want to cut our national – we have our 250th anniversary coming up. The 250th anniversary of the United States of America is coming up in 2026. I mean, right? July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2026, that is 250 years.
Well, I'll be.
1/4 of a millennium. And we've already announced that there's going to be a huge blowout celebration at none other than Mount Rushmore. Among other places. Should we not do that either? We can save all of that money and save all of that waste and still make these things happen to demonstrate the pride that we have in these United States of America. All right, more on that front in just a moment. But right now, do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Right now, we like to celebrate the nincompoops that are around the nation, around the world. We call it nincompoops in the news. Yeah, here's the voice guy. Yeah. Woo!
You were pretty spot on.
See, I know that show, man. I used to watch that when I was a kid. All right, Mason, the way that we do these things, let me teach you along with those newbies in the listening audience.
Learn me something.
The three of us, Ken Weaver, Mason Fleming, and Matt Murphy, we have stories where we have identified nincompoops within the context of the stories. Normally, these are what we would call in the business kicker stories. They don't have to be. They don't have to be. Like mine today is kind of more of a serious story. But I find humor in it. And we go around the room, and then the audience decides who has won the nincompoopery of the day. It's called Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mason, you seem a guest. You seem aghast and a guest.
Aghast and a guest, yeah. I think it would be best.
I'm just looking for your
someone other than the guest.
Well, okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
I was looking at his eyes to see if there's fear when I tell him he's going first.
Hey, I'll go first. It might.
You want to go first?
No, I'd prefer not to, but I can if you, Mr. Murphy, decide so.
That's fine. That's fine. You know what? I'm going to go first.
I'll play your game.
I'm going to go first, and I'm going to name a media organization as my nincompoop of the day.
Ooh.
It is none. Well, no, it's a local too. It's the Tennessean, because they are still working this stupid story that there are books that are banned in the state of Tennessee. They recently had a story over the weekend about banned books in the state of Tennessee. As Tennessee faces a record number of book bans, writes the Tennessean, and removals since December of 2023, there are certain genres and themes consistently among the most banned items, with nearly 1,400 books either being fully removed from school libraries or heavily age-restricted, blah, 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 pursuant to the Age Appropriate Materials Act, blah, blah, blah. And they talk about the banned books across this state. Friends, every one of these books you can go down to the bookstore and buy. Every single one of them. How is that a banned book? If it was banned by the state of Tennessee, you couldn't buy it in the state of Tennessee. And every single one of them you can buy. What we have decided as a society and as a public education system, that there are certain books that are age appropriate for young people, and there are certain books that are not age appropriate for young people. Now, if you want your kid to read Lady Chatterley, I can never say it. Golly, I get on a toot. And I'm right there, and I can't get over the hill. Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Oh, there you go.
I should use a different example. If you want your son or your daughter to read that softcore porn, that's fine. That's up to you. Just go buy the book and give it to them. But in our public schools, we have acceptable standards. So my nincompoop of the day is to the Tennesseans, to every writer at the Tennessean, everybody involved in writing this story, for you to consistently state that books are, quote, banned. No, they are restricted for certain age groups, and some books are restricted in their totality for high school or otherwise. They are considered inappropriate for public education purposes. And that is my nincompoop of the day. That's how you do it, Mason, right there. That's how you get it done.
Right. That sounds right.
Mr. Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir.
You are up, sir.
All right. This one comes from the Santa Fe New Mexican. Naked man arrested with fake gun.
Well, I've already lost.
59-year-old David Gebert, wearing only a shirt, allegedly pointed a toy gun at someone in a hotel parking lot right across from the Dollar Tree.
Oh, no.
Police saw him climb over a wall holding what appeared to be a gun between the DoubleTree Hotel and the Dollar Tree. The man got into a car, drove it across the parking lot in the hotel, but then crashed into a wall. So police head over to check him out. They say they had to use what they call less lethal munitions to arrest Gebert. Rubber bullets didn't work. Another officer released a canine which bit Gebert, who, by the way, was naked halfway down. Took him to the ground even. Gebert was still going. Another officer used a stun gun, and that apparently got him to calm down enough that they handcuffed him.
Oh, good.
Now, when asked, what are you? But it was to help them.
Help them?
There was a naked man running around.
What?
No, I'm just joking about that. But yeah, Gebert.
That's funny. I like that.
Gebert, who was half naked, said that, yes, sir, I did point that gun, but it was only to help them. Well, he was arrested and booked into the Santa Fe County Jail. And doesn't appear that he's faced any other criminal charges for at least 10 years in the state of New Mexico.
Oh. And let me tell you something.
That's my nincompoop right
That's
there.
a pretty darn good
Here's my question.
When they pull the dog out and I got nothing on from the waist down,
yeah,
it's time for me to throw my hands in the air.
Why did he leave his shirt on?
Just Pooh Bearing it.
He's Pooh Bearing. He's Donald Ducking that thing,
yeah.
man.
Pooh Bearing.
It's one of my favorite.
That's right. He wears a shirt.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just shirt,
that's
nothing
it.
else.
Nothing else. He's Pooh Bearing.
Donald Duck, right there, the same, except for he's got a sailor's cap.
My favorite scene in the new cartoon version of the Grinch is when the Grinch puts pants on.
Yeah.
And they're exactly the same thing as, but
as his fur, yeah.
Man, but he's got underpants on, but then he puts pants on and it looks like he's naked.
Well, maybe this old boy in Santa Fe was, maybe he was modest.
I'm just going to keep my shirt on here. Well, I mean, if I had to go outside and I had the choice between buck or shirt, I think I'd go shirt.
Is it a collared shirt? Was he being formal for the officers? Got to make sure I look good. Got to get arrested.
Let me tell you something. I don't, you watch people that are willing to fight you naked.
Oh man,
you better look out.
Because let me tell you something. They're in it. They're in it to win it.
Yes, sir.
I promise you that.
Yes.
They just don't want to ruin their nice shirt for Sunday.
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Fleming, you're a nincompoop, sir.
This one comes all the way back from 2016, but it is one of my favorite stories of a Florida man arrested for throwing an alligator through a Wendy's drive-thru window.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Florida man was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill after allegedly throwing an alligator through the fast food chain's drive-thru window in October. Joshua, 24, threw a 3.5-foot alligator through a Palm Beach County Wendy's drive-thru window nearly 4 months ago.
3.5 feet?
You got to angle it properly.
And you also got to
the
make
wrong
sure
way, it'll bounce right back at you.
Its head's not whipping around trying to bite you on the hands while you throw that thing. It's got claws, too.
You got to get a spiral on that thing to get through the window.
A report James drove through in his pickup truck in the window at 1:20 a.m. October 11th and was written by a wildlife officer He grabbed his drink.
Whoa.
He didn't forget his drink.
Ah, that's nice.
And then as the employee turns back to hand him his food, there's an alligator flying through the window at her.
Oh, my gosh.
And he speeds off.
Wait, so he got his food?
He didn't get his food. He got his drink.
He got his drink.
Launched an alligator and dipped.
So he was a wildlife officer?
No.
Who just happened to have an alligator on him?
No.
We're very confused.
That was the wildlife officer reporting on the situation. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I guess that's who you call when you get an alligator launched through your drive-through window at Wendy's.
Yeah.
Well, at least they know who to call. I mean,
Yeah. Not Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Wildlife.
I wonder if they just cleared out the place and gave the restaurant to the alligator.
Probably. I mean, what do you do? It's 1:20 in the morning. I'm not staying there to work.
No. There's an alligator back there?
Hey, I'm trying to make a double baconator here. Back off.
A 3-foot-long alligator could do some damage.
That's no joke.
It's not 3-foot-long alligator could eat some Frosties.
It's alleged that his original plan was to rob the place with the alligator.
You know what, Mason? You got a great compliment.
Oh, yeah?
With your nincompoop. Do you have the finish up music? That's how we play. Nincompoop said the news. You just do the music again.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do the music with the noise. You just do the music. I'll do it. That's how we do Nincompoops in the news. You got a great compliment there, Mason.
Oh, yeah? What was
1960, who regularly votes Ken, said at 5:49 said Ken. At 5:51 said, I'm changing to Mason.
Let's go.
How about that?
Hey,
wow. Vote changing.
Mason's not working this shift ever again.
There you go. That's how we play Nincompoops in the news. 53 after the hour on Super Talk. So where does it hurt? Does it hurt in your back, your neck, your knees, your hips, your elbows? Wherever it hurts, the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief can help. Look, I'm excited to tell you about Dr. Gill every time I get an opportunity to do so because they helped me so much. I was tired of living in pain, and frankly, I was altering my lifestyle as a result of my pain. The Dr. Gill Center has now helped me out with my lower back pain, my upper neck pain. I don't hurt in the upper neck anymore, and they have helped me out with my shoulder. I've got a shoulder issue, too, that it's an old softball injury. Believe it or not, I used to play softball some 20 years ago. I injured it, have never done anything with it. It's now becoming increasingly aggressive in terms of the pain, and the Dr. Gill Center is giving me every piece of advice that I need and giving me the help that I need to solve that pain issue as well, because the last thing you want is to go under the knife, and they understand that at the Dr. Gill Center. You don't have to settle for a clinic that doesn't care, folks. Let's get to the Dr. Gill Center. They are the originators of spinal decompression in Middle Tennessee. They can assist you. Find out more online at callmepainfree.com, callmepainfree.com, or 615-882-4838, 882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin.
Middle Tennessee bracing for another round of snow, and a plane carrying 80 people crashes after landing, flips on its top. Details at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Mason, I have a slight problem with your victory here today, but because you were gonna cruise to victory.
Mm-hmm.
You were set to cruise to victory.
What happened?
Well, Mason admitted, and this was pointed out by an alert super texter, that he has used this story in the past. That's a...
Oh!
I didn't say I used it in the past.
That is a no-no,
I said it's a
Mason.
favorite story that I've heard before.
That's an infraction.
That's a major infraction. We're gonna... I'll tell you
It
what.
was the first time because I didn't know the rules.
We will... I
didn't know the rules.
I'm an officer. I didn't know I couldn't go 94 miles an hour.
I couldn't do that.
I didn't realize
Wait
I could...
a second.
I didn't know all I had on was a shirt.
I didn't know I could stop in the middle of the road without any pants on I-24 and pick up a refrigerator. I didn't know.
Hey, if the buck is good on the side of the road, I must be able to pick it up.
We're going to take all of your objections under advisement in the final hour of the big broadcast.
I understand.
By the way, today's a big anniversary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a sad anniversary. I'm going to tell you all about February the 17th, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, big anniversary in our circle on what we do. I'll tell you what it was. One more hour to go. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. TDOT trucks been pre-treating state roads and interstates for the snow tomorrow night. At the same time, NDOT road crews here in Nashville doing all the roads they can, the major roads that the state doesn't cover. Some of those secondary roads get some pre-treatment, too. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. 15 people injured, but none with life-threatening injuries on a runway in Toronto.
This airplane just crashed at 23. 7105, pull up ground.
Yeah, that's tower audio, courtesy Live ATC. Sam Sweeney says a Delta regional jet had just crashed and flipped on its top on the runway today.
This is a CRJ 900 aircraft. It's slightly bigger than the plane that crashed at DCA just 3 weeks ago. It was arriving from Minneapolis into Toronto's Pearson Airport when it somehow, in these weather conditions, and we're learning the winds were at least 40 miles per hour, it flipped over, potentially some sort of an ice situation.
Yeah, 80 people were on board. Aviation expert and famous pilot John Nance.
This is one of the workhorses of what we used to call commuter aviation. This is a Delta connection. And these airplanes are working day and night everywhere. They're not fragile, but they are light. This is about a 47,000-pound airplane compared to maybe a 140,000-pound 737.
Yeah, a child among the injured, but again, no life-threatening injuries reported. Deadly flooding in Kentucky. The death toll is 11 in the Bluegrass State. Could have been higher after this teenager and his friends tried to drive into standing water but were rescued.
I see it all over like TikTok, all over YouTube, Instagram. I see these stuff happen, but I never thought this would really happen like over here, like in Kentucky, like especially on the road I use like mostly every single day.
Meanwhile, in Tennessee, high water rescues continued today in far northwest Tennessee, Obion County. 27 people were rescued yesterday in Montgomery County. 50 people had to be moved to safety from a nursing home in Macon County on Saturday. And in Pennsylvania, strong winds blew a tree down, crushing a woman to death. Elizabeth Balaguer had just spent the day with the woman at a church concert, recalling their final moments together.
I told her I loved her. She said, I love you too. Have a great night. I said, you too. We kind of like grabbed our hands as we was, and she stood there and it just hurts.
Before this incident, neighbors said another tree fell in that neighborhood and knocked down power lines. And on this President's Day, rallies against President Trump and Elon Musk's Doge. Meanwhile, Mary Bruce says 15,000 workers at the IRS face potential layoffs. Others could be barred from entering Federal Aviation Administration buildings tomorrow. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now in Smyrna, still got that crash reported by the Highway Patrol. Going to be 24 eastbound after Almaville Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. I want to talk to you for a moment about your personal safety with my man, Mark, and Nashville Safe House. Right? I mean, because your personal safety is all about, those things that you use to protect yourself. And what do you protect those things with? Well, I suggest you protect them with a safe from Nashville Safe House. They've got all brands, all makes, all models. They've got Browning. The best fire ratings in the business come from Browning. Nashville Safe House also has a brand for you and your budget, and they have a size for you. As a matter of fact, over 200 safes in stock at Nashville Safe House on the showroom floor, and wait for it, almost 400 more behind the scenes in their warehouse. That's commitment to making sure they have a safe for you in stock, ready to go, delivered from a professional, not some third party. A professional member of the Nashville Safe House crew will deliver your safes. Gun safes are always sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Go see Mark at Nashville Safe House and find out more about a safe right for you and your family. Go to 4th Avenue South in Nashville or online at NashvilleSafeHouse.com. NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, it's the last hour, and I feel like we're just getting warmed up. I could go another 3 or 4. I don't know that you would want me to, but I could. It is a holiday edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, February the 17th. It is President's Day, despite the fact that I don't think we need President's Day. Not as a national holiday, anyway. That's just my hot take. What's yours? 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Let me pay this off real quick. You can call us, by the way, at those telephone numbers. You can also hit us up on the super text line, up and available for you every time we speak. It's available. By the way, Mason, I'm up to, let me see here. Let me just do a little refresh. You ready? A little friendly, I'm up to 34 thumbs up.
Let's go.
34 likes.
Let's go.
I got 69 people watching right now.
All right.
And I don't know that well, never
Let's
mind.
get to 70.
Come on, people.
Call your friends and your family.
Or 1 or 2 of them. I knew a radio guy. When I was a kid, there was a radio guy that did Greg Hodden's Old Time Radio Hour every Saturday morning. Yeah. And when Greg came on the old radio, he would tell you all about what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk to Miss Margaret Johnson down at Winston Funeral Home.
Yes, sir.
About what they got going on down there. We'll head on over to the nursing home and talk to Mr. He would tell you about all that. Yeah. We got a few numbers to play for you as well. But before we do any of this, ladies and gentlemen, would you do old Greg one little favor? And this is how he started. I was 15 years old. Listen, would you do old Greg a little favor? Pick up the old telephone now and call one friend or neighbor and tell them that Greg Harden is on the air. And he would, as soon as he did that, Ken, you'll get that. He was holding his thumb on a slip cue in a record.
Yeah.
And it was always like some Hank Williams song or something.
Yeah.
He goes, you tell them that Greg Harden is on the air. Bow, 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 bow. Man, that was radio, baby.
Yes, sir.
That's so good.
That was radio. He would take calls by picking up the phone and holding it up to the microphone and taking it. He'd take his headphone off so he could hear. Yes, ma'am, you're on the radio.
Oh, man. See, dude.
That's the old school. He would do his own ads. Kind of kind of like we do now.
Yeah.
I mean, but nobody did them that way back in the day, back in the 80s or whatever.
Right.
And I was fascinated with him. He'd come in with a leather briefcase, and he'd open up that briefcase, and he'd have a big old record albums underneath his arm. In his briefcase, he would always have a sandwich. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
A sandwich, a gun, a pint of liquor.
Yes.
And an apple.
Well, a man's got to eat.
I mean,
and nobody better try to get that apple.
And every once in a while, they have an extra pack of cigarettes in there. Most times, cigarettes are in his front pocket of his overalls.
Yes, sir.
Greg Hawden's old-time radio hour. And I said, Mr. Greg, I said, how do you is this all you do? Yes, sir, sonny boy. I work all week just to do this on Saturday. And I said, well, Mr. Greg, how much did they pay you? Because I asked him about advertising.
Yeah.
And he advertised for Wormy Newton's Feed and Seed.
Yes.
Wormy Newton, the only man I've ever met that cut his toenails with a chainsaw. And he said that because Wormy only had 3 toes on 1 foot. So he always said that he cut his toes with a chainsaw. And I said, Mr. Greg, how much did they pay you? He said, Sonny boy. He never called me. He said, I was always Sonny boy. Sonny boy, they pay me $25 to open my mouth. I was like,
see,
yes.
All I ever had was a Church of Christ Restored preacher who told me I was going to hell.
That was across the hall. All that Hellraiser was going on while Mr. Greg was doing his old-time radio hour.
Oh, man.
That's great. I could tell you stories about Mr. Greg. He's
Greg.
so funny. I had to I was 15 years old, and I had to kick a woman out of the studio because she accidentally peed in the studio.
Oh,
and
goodness.
She was holy rolling. And she got so excited that Greg, I'm doing the AM station across the hall, and Greg's doing his old-time radio hour on the FM broadcast. And on the air, he's oh, Lord, I think Miss Margaret is wet. and the hotline, so from across the hall, the hotline rings. And I pick up the hotline, and it's Mike Wall, the owner of the radio station. And I can't repeat exactly what he said, but I'll try to get it right. He said, will you go across the hall and see if that SOB is lying on the radio or if she really peed in my studio? And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, if she has urinated in the studio, kick her ass out.
Don't matter if it's church or not.
And she had.
Oh.
I had to kick her out.
I'm telling you, man, them old days in this business, I wouldn't trade them for the world. Although that preacher scared me to death.
Oh, man. I used to do those Sunday mornings when we would bring in those preachers, and the McGuire sisters would come in and sing into the can.
Yeah.
For 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They did a live singing show.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, man, oh, man. And people thought I knew what I was doing. I mean, during the breaks between the live shows, when you have to set them up, I would select gospel music. And it was just rando, right? I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you're just pulling stuff.
But then eventually people were like, you know, look, young man, you play such good gospel music. You really do have an ear for it. And I'm like, whatever, you know.
You should have taken up an offering.
I'm like, well, that should pass the plate. Anyway, those are good old school radio days. Speaking of, and this kind of goes at 4 years ago today, and listen, I don't know where my life, and I mean this with all due sincerity and humility, I do not know where my life would have been without Rush Limbaugh. I don't, because Rush Limbaugh changed everything. And I think it is right and proper that we commemorate the life of Rush Limbaugh on the 4th anniversary of his death. We lost him too soon. I think he was 69 years of age. And to say that he made an impact on our genre and what we do is an insane understatement. His program and the ability that he had to nationally syndicate it, he brought AM radio back to life in a way that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it happens without Rush Limbaugh. Maybe you could suggest that it does, but I don't think it happens in that way. I don't know that talk radio becomes the genre and the format that it became without the guy. And you know, much like locally, people remember the great Phil Valentine, nationally and internationally, truly, people remember Rush Limbaugh. And I just noted that today was the 4th anniversary of the passing of Rush, El Rushbo. And, obviously he impacted every single one of us in the business, whether we want to admit it or not. I frankly, when I was coming up in the business, I looked at Neil Bortz as a mentor in terms of on-air performance. I looked at Don Markwell, who was a local guy in Montgomery, Alabama, as a personal mentor. But Rush Limbaugh was the godfather above it all. And we lost him 4 years ago, so it goes without saying that we miss the great El Rushbo. I've been doing this for about 25 years, and I got to tell you, for that length of time, I don't know of a time that leftists and their minions in the mainstream media have not nodded their heads in agreement when we went on talk radio, when the great Rush Limbaugh or Phil or whomever it might be, yours truly, Matt Murphy, would get on air, fiscal watchdogs, not fizz, fiscal watchdogs, like myself, and we would suggest, for 25 years we've been doing this, right? We would suggest that we have to get our spending under control. That we have to focus first on waste and fraud and abuse, and then once we focus on waste and fraud and abuse, that we can move on to talk about priorities in terms of the amount of money that we're bringing in versus the amount of money going out. This has been a subject all of my life and certainly all of my working life in what we do. That we as a nation will eventually die under our own financial weight, under our own financial burden, if we do not eventually address overspending in this country. And yet we have not. And over the course of that 25 years, we went from a national debt of some $5 trillion. This is actual numbers, right? In 2000, when I started my radio career in talk, I had done music radio before then in the country music format. And then way back in the day when I was 15 years of age, talking to old Greg Harden and the Old Time Radio Hour back on WTHO, WTWA, the FM AM combo. All our lives, we've been talking about actually doing something about waste, fraud, and abuse in government. And it has been my experience that one of the few things that people on the political right and people on the political left could agree on is that we have to tackle this issue. Oh, we love to talk about that common ground, didn't we? Whether you're a libertarian, a conservative, a leftist, whatever. The leftist intellectual pinky drinkers would agree with you when you brought this up. When you said we've got to get our spending under control, we've got to focus on waste, fraud, and abuse. The pinky drinkers would tell you, they talk about it. On that we agree. And one day we're going to tackle that issue for real. And one day we're going to really do something about this. And, let's get together and debate soon how to best get this under control. How they would agree that it's a big-time issue, a very important issue. Well, now that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency are actually tearing flesh from bone, these same people that have been promising us that they really mean it when we say it, and they believe in it when we say it, these same people are exposing themselves. They're exposed for what they are, liars. Now that we're actually doing what we've been talking about for the last 25 years, they expose that they never meant it. Not a word of it, ever. They just lie about it and move on. They never thought they never truly believed. They gave lip service to this and lied about it. They never once believed that anyone within the system, no Republican, no Democrat, had the actual stones to do one thing about it. And why would they? Of course they didn't. Why would they? I mean, the GOP, sadly, either did not have the true conservative numbers to lift a finger on this issue, or they didn't want to. Outside of Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan gave a fair amount of lip service to it. Sadly, he did not have the congressional numbers to do anything about it. The GOP, outside of him, the only time you heard the GOP speaking about debt or spending is when they weren't in power. They'd talk about it then. The GOP would rail about spending and how to get it under control when they didn't have any power. Sadly, when they got power, they were too busy spending money to talk about it anymore. They just started overspending on their pet projects, not the Democrats' pet projects. But now that we have a president that's actually doing what he said he would do, we have an individual that has been empowered to do these very things in Elon Musk. We have a department that is dedicated to this very task, and we are actually finding waste, fraud, and abuse. We are finding it right now. How exciting is this? That we are finally doing what we've all collectively agreed that we've wanted to do for the past 25 years at least. We're finally doing it. Is the left happy? They claim they wanted this for the last 25 years. Hell no. They're howling. They're screeching. They're screaming about how people are going to die if these programs are cut and that these programs don't really waste any money. And Matt, you don't understand. There's not really that much abuse and these agencies are just too important. And they're just screaming and yelling, finding every reason to hate this under the sun. They scream that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are racists and they engage in any number of ad hominem attacks against yours truly, Matt Murphy, and everybody else that applauds these types of things. They say, you just want to kill people. You just want to destroy lives. You just want poor people to starve to death. They talk about how all of this is illegal. They go into the courts to try to clog it up and talk about all of this being a constitutional crisis. Where were the people like a year ago that agreed with me that there was waste, fraud, and abuse and that needed to be cut out of government? Where are all those people now that we're doing it? Some of them are actually out saying that overspending isn't really an issue anyway, that we could just tax ourselves out of this, which we couldn't do if we wanted to, or it's not going to cripple our economy down the road, which is not reality. Let me tell you something, and I know I'm late, Mason, but I've got about 2 more minutes to go. These leftists that are screeching loudest, that you see all over social media, that you might hear on some of these airwaves, that you might hear call into this radio show or others, most of them and their supporters are hopelessly addicted to government. Hopelessly addicted, like it was a drug, like it is a drug. These leftists that are howling and screaming and screeching about not being all of it, they are in a cult. Effectively a cult. They bow before the altar of government. Government is their religion. To them, the people of the United States of America are in service to government, not the other way around. Now, they'll tell you all of this is for the greater good. They'll try to convince you that all of this is for the betterment of the little man and all of that, and that you'll hear about the greater good till the cows come home. What they don't tell you is that the greater good is actually to further their power and their control for those in the bureaucracy. They want to benefit themselves. And then they'll give scraps to the mainstream media minions and the mindless voters who dare not question them. They do not understand the independent and individual responsibility that most Americans are willing to take for their own future freedom and to claw their country back. The spirit of that freedom that grew our country from the beginnings almost 250 years ago has not died. And I do not believe that the America that I know and love will bow before any institution created by man. We bow before God. I've been yelling and screaming about this for 25 years. And I'll admit to you that I had resigned myself to the possibility that all it ever was just talk. Just a talking point on talk radio. Now, I don't know. If patriotic Americans can hold the line with the leadership that we currently have, the real America will show back up. And so, keep up the work. And don't listen to the pathetic howlers. It's 24 after the hour on Super Talk. You know, it is a post-Valentine's Day edition of me telling you about the Glock store, right? But I'm still talking about Valentine's Day. At least I'm still talking about that wonderful opportunity that you have at the Glock store that you and a significant other can, for the entire month of February, go in and book a couples shooting session at shoot270.com. And when you show up, you mention my name, Matt Murphy. It's 2 for the price of 1. Now, I would encourage you to do this with your significant other, your loved one. But you know what? If it's your brother or if it's your cousin, I don't think the Glock store is going to say anything about that either. It's fun, and it's tip-top, and there's always fun going on at the Glock store. Plus, with this private shooting room experience, it's a personal shooting instructor, a professional that will tailor the session to your current level and to the level of your significant other or your partner. Whatever your level is at right now, you'll both finish with a better, more confident shooting experience. You'll be a more better and more confident shooter yourself, and it's 2 shooters for the price of 1 at the Glock store. Go by and see the incredible showroom. See the folks at the Glock store. Mention my name, and you'll get that 2 for the price of 1. You can sign up at shoot270.com, glockstore.com. They're minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. They're at the one and only Glock store.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Middle Tennessee bracing for up to 4 inches of snow and no loss of life after a Delta flight lands and then flips upside down in Toronto. We'll tell you about it at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ken Weaver, 28 minutes after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jeremiah writes in, you should, because everything you just said is Trump. Well, no. You're sure not talking about Trump, because everything you just said is Trump and the MAGA cult. You're going for the bleep president, not the ones who are actually conservative. You know, this is spoken just like a liberal. It's written just like a liberal's talk. So it makes absolutely no sense. Jeremiah, just type out your words with the brain that God gave you and try to formulate a complete sentence. And I would love to hear from you at 615-737-9986. Lisa's in Readyville, I believe that's right. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey, hi, it's Reedyville. But you said something the other day, Mr. Murphy, that really kind of got under my skin. You were talking about government workers, and you said something about them being entitled and lazy, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it was something to that effect. But I just wanted to give you a less ignorant perspective, if I could. We that work for the government, for the state of Tennessee, we work in the IT department, and we're not lazy. We're not entitled. We've been working from home since 5 years before COVID, and let me tell you, we work long hours. The government has found a way to screw us out of paying us overtime. We just get straight time or compensatory time. And sometimes we're on the phone all night long when something breaks. And we don't do it because of the money, because, you know, they pay us pretty good, but it's, you know, not quite up to everybody else's standard. But we do it because our family lives here. We support them. We support the roads. We support TBI. We support safety, children's services, health services, all those people that serve Tennessee and serve our people, our friends and family, and you included, of course. So when you painted the government employees with that big, broad brush of nastiness, it really got under my skin.
I can understand that. Lisa, I want, if you can you hold on?
Yeah.
I don't have the ability to talk with you right now because Ken's got a newscast to do real quick. And as important and influential as I happen to be, I cannot move the clock around more than I already have. So, no, that's a joke, by the way, Lisa. I want to talk to you about this for just a moment because I think it's a good conversation to have. We'll do that right after Ken's news on Super Talk.
Well, we're bracing up for up to 4 inches of snow here in some parts of Middle Tennessee. A TDOT spokesperson telling Channel 4 what's going on to make sure interstates and state roads are as safe as possible.
They're going to be plowing roads as soon as we have enough snow to plow. We will also be salting as soon as there is any kind of trouble spots as we see it. But we will have shifts. They will be working 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
And Nashville crews pre-treating roads as well. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. No loss of life after that Delta flight out of Minneapolis flipped upside down while landing on the snow-covered runway at Toronto Pearson International Airport today. ABC News contributor and retired Marine fighter pilot Colonel Steve Ganyard.
If you look at the hull itself, it's intact. That saved lives. But inside the cabin, disorientation, you end up upside down, you're hanging from what is now the ceiling. So we don't know where the injuries came from, but more than likely some of the injuries occurred when people released their seatbelts and dropped from the ceiling into what is now the floor.
More than a dozen people were injured, sparking an investigation with Canadian and American authorities. And the death toll from the flooding in Kentucky has risen to 12. Now another blast of winter on the way, and Louisville resident Carrie Lake's concerned what that's going to mean for cleanup efforts.
This week we're really concerned because it's going to be cold, so we have no power in the house. So we have plants and waters, and we took all of our pets with us, but if the water pipes burst, then there could be a lot more of a cleanup mess than we're used to.
Money News, Chuck Severson.
Stock markets were closed in observance of President's Day, a federal holiday. Global markets closed mixed as investors weigh future tariff moves from President Trump. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum says she wants Google to fully restore the name of Gulf of Mexico on its Google Maps or file a lawsuit. President Trump has renamed the body of water Gulf of America, but U.S. naming rights only go a few miles into the Gulf, where territorial waters end.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash with injuries reported blocking the right lane of 65 northbound right before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, exit 95. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm specializing in physical security consultation and active violence mitigation. What does all that mean? That means that they help protect people where people gather by offering you valuable information about how to act and react in those group settings. Whether you are a school, a corporation, healthcare facility, law firm, manufacturing facility, corporate headquarters, entertainment venue, and the like. Any place that people gather, they can assist you in understanding exactly what to do, how to design your security and readiness for any project that you might have going on or any gathering that you might have going on. This is the bottom line, folks. We live in a dangerous world, and Defense Systems is a life safety consultation firm. They help your staff understand how to react in the unlikely event that you have a workplace violence situation, that you have an active shooter situation, or you have a situation that is uncontrolled in some fashion, or an emergency or an intruder, and rapid response medical necessities. They do it all for your facility. They customize it all for your facility. Go to defensesystems.com. That's defensesystems.com, or call 615-236-6484. 236-6484 for our friends at Defense Systems.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, winding down an exciting holiday Monday edition of the Matt Murphy Show. At least I've been excited. I've had a good time. I hope you have as well. Mason Fleming, on your 7th hour of radio.
Yes, sir.
Holding up?
I'm doing all right.
Hanging in?
Yeah.
Hey, I got us up to 52 thumbs up there.
Hey, you're doing good.
You know,
doing good there.
You know, I mean, I'm just a pale comparison to Chris Hand.
Hey, we're pushing numbers over there.
I blame that most of the folk are in the car. That's what I say.
Yes, on this holiday time.
Yeah, that's what any port in a storm. Any port in a storm, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Lisa in Reedyville has called us, and I want to get back to Lisa because she's, I think it's fair to say you're giving me the business, Lisa, and that's okay. You feel like I painted with too broad of a brush. Is that a fair assessment as to my discussion of government workers and their entitlement mentality?
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned something during our conversation before the break that I think I find interesting, and I'm curious to explore it. You said that in the IT department that you guys have to work all hours of the night, and that the government screwed you out of overtime.
Yeah, that's a way of saying it.
No, that's the way you said it. I wrote it down when you said it. You said they're screwing it. How did that happen?
Well, OSHA, a long time ago during the Y2K thing, OSHA developed this little loophole that said if you are an essential worker, that they don't have to pay you overtime to call you in during an emergency. So, of course, they've been using that loophole, and we get called in at different hours of the night and day, and we don't get paid overtime.
You're a salaried employee?
We are salaried employees.
Right. No salaried employees get paid overtime, Lisa, in the private sector.
That's what they say.
So,
but
no. That's hold on. See, I'm demonstrating your entitlement as we speak. I spoke to you about in the private sector, salaried employees do not get paid overtime. You're a salaried employee, yet you call it a screwing. In the private sector, we just call that the contract that we entered into.
Yeah. Okay. You call it what you like.
You called it a screwing, and I'm saying that demonstrates how government employees are entitled.
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't agree with you on that.
Well, that's okay. I hope that we can be friends. I hope we can be friends.
Yeah, sure.
Even if we disagree with certain
different perceptions of the situation.
Right, because if I'm in the private sector and I enter into an agreement where I agree to a salaried position, that post can require me to work more than 40 hours, and I don't get compensated for that.
You can say that, but I know plenty of people that work for private industry, and they do get paid overtime. As a matter of fact,
some
when I
do.
worked for
Some
an
do.
oil company in Houston, I got paid overtime when things went sideways, and I had to come in. It's been more the standard that you do get paid overtime. And as a matter of fact, there is an agency within the state, I'm not going to mention which agency it is, but they get paid overtime.
Well, but
and so
Lisa, my point is, did you not sign a contract?
No.
So you're not under contract?
No.
So you don't have any contract agreement with the government?
No, not really.
Then you're free to go get a better job where they pay you overtime.
No. That's what I'm saying. When you say entitled and it's easy and we're lazy and things like that, I just want you to get a different.
I don't think I ever said. I don't think I ever said lazy. I would not.
All right, I'll take that off the table.
I don't think.
But we work really hard and we put in the hours and we don't complain about the hours. And I don't complain about the overtime. Really, that's the first thing I've said to you about it. But because people need to know. But they schedule all sorts of maintenance windows for computer equipment after hours.
Do you get paid? Do you get paid comp time for your after hours?
No.
You don't get compensated in any way for the work that you do?
Well, we get paid straight time. The time we work, we get paid for that.
Well, that means you're compensated. You're compensated for your time.
Okay. Well, you call it comp time. So yeah. And you can choose between comp time or vacation time, which we're kind of short-staffed, so nobody really has a lot of time to go on vacation. So it's kind of a loophole. But I'm really not complaining about working for the government. I love working for the government. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and all the people I work with, they love it too, and they they don't mind putting in the hours and doing service for the state of Tennessee. But, you know, we're not entitled. We don't expect that. We don't, you know, you just made us sound kind of bad. And I've met state employees who are like that. They're like one desk nap away from getting fired, and they think they can't get fired. I've met people like that, but they're not in the IT group. We do so much for so many agencies for many, many, many hours. And
well, when you do what I do, Lisa, and this is the best way that I can tell you, when you speak about a system as large as government, if you speak about any large system, I can identify within the system trends. I can identify trend lines. That is not to say that every piece and part of the system goes to those trend lines. It is to say that I can identify the flow of that trend without demanding that every single piece and part of that mosaic or that puzzle is a part of that trend line. And I would suggest, what I would say to you is that my blanket statement, in my opinion, stands. At the same time, that does not mean, certainly, that every employee of local, state, or federal government is an entitled person. But I have noticed, my observation, yours can be completely different. Obviously it is. But my observation is that government employees tend to speak as if they have it worse than the private sector, as if they are more burdened than the private sector, and as if they have further rights or entitlements than the private sector. And I do not believe any of those things are true. As a matter of fact, I think it's quite the opposite, that a lot of times government employees tend to be mollycoddled far more than the private sector puts up with.
Well, I would disagree with that too.
When's the last? I mean, do people get fired in your office ever?
Yeah, they do. They do.
When's the last person got fired that you recall?
Last person that got fired was, I'm going to say, a year ago.
Okay.
Because we have to deploy equipment all over the state. We have to make sure it runs when we leave it. We have to make sure the agency is running and everybody's happy with it. And sometimes that takes all day, and then we get to travel, and that can take some time too. And it's just part of the job. It's not a complaint. It's just part of the job. We have a long state, and it takes us 4 hours to get from one point to the other, in either direction. So, yeah, I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying that's our job. We're very proud of the job we do, and to be called entitled over that it's an insult. And
well, I mean, and I would just reiterate, and obviously per this conversation, you seem like a very reasonable person, and I'm certain that the state is happy to have you, and it's good to have you. At the same time, it has been my experience that generally speaking, government workers feel as if they are entitled to certain benefits and certain aspects of their role that the private sector does not experience. That's just my take on it. And
okay.
And I mean, and I hope that we can, we can, walk away as friends. I hope it's been a good conversation, and I'm glad you called me on it. I mean, I need to be called on more stuff, Lisa.
It's just that our department gets a beat down on a regular basis because just like the telephone company or your cell phone, you never call them and say, hey, good job, when it's working. You
true.
Only call them when you're having bad service and whatnot. So people call us when things are broken and they're in a bad mood, and we're trying to help them, and so it's a good job that we do. It's a noble thing we do, I think, in some respects. And we just don't get enough appreciation for it from some. And when I heard what you said, it really was like, oh, that's not good. So, yeah, we have different opinions.
We do, and I'll give you the last word on it. So, Lisa, thank you for the call tonight.
You're welcome.
All right, Take care. There's Lisa fighting back for the government workers out there. That's fine. I get it. We just have a different perspective on it. And I'm not gonna talk about the call after Lisa leaves the call. I don't think that would be fair to Lisa. So We'll just we'll leave it at that. I will say this. Speaking of entitled, did you see that Sheryl Crow sold her Tesla? That'll get them. Oh, yeah. Sheryl Crow. Doesn't she lives here, right? Or around here? I think I have that right. That Sheryl Crow lives in and around the Nashville, maybe Franklin area. I want to say that's correct.
I believe so. That sounds right.
I mean, she got rid of that Tesla jiffy quick. I mean, I don't know how long she had it, but she put it up on that rollback, and off it goes. Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, the belching toxins into the atmosphere as it rolled off with that beautiful electric vehicle that she had.
I hate Teslas.
Do you? What? Tell me why. No. As a man that parks cars in part for a living,
yep.
Not only do you work on the radio for half the day, you just work half day. My grandpa used to say that. People
work half days.
Yeah, people say, Cecil, you working hard? He goes, half days, 12 hours. That's what he say, 12 hours.
Yeah.
I just work half days, 12 hours a day.
Half days.
You park cars for a living. Why do you hate Teslas?
Man, they're always everybody. Oh, where do I
Come on,
start?
let's go.
Let's start with the Cybertruck.
It gets you in trouble, and tomorrow people will call you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll have it out.
Cybertrucks.
I hate Cybertrucks.
Why do you hate Cybertrucks?
There's no, you know how you have your steering wheel? There's only a rod that connects you to the front axle so you could turn your wheels properly.
Uh-huh.
That's all digital now. So there's a delay when you're turning your wheel. That drives me absolutely nuts.
I thought there was an absence of. Oh no, maybe I'm thinking about the acceleration.
Yeah, the acceleration
is immediate.
Yeah, it's immediate. You throw down that pedal, you are taken off. That's cool. The thing about their acceleration, though, is it's like driving an RC car. If you don't hold down that trigger while you're driving your RC car around your front yard, it's going to lose steam pretty quickly because there's no engine to keep it moving.
For the older folks in the audience, RC stands for remote control.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I just need to keep them up.
No, absolutely. I totally get it.
Octogenarians up to speed here.
But if you don't keep that foot on the pedal, it's going to do the exact same thing. And so that.
And it's immediate deceleration, immediate acceleration. Immediate acceleration.
And so that gets a little whiplashy if you're not used to it. But
the turning has a delay to it?
Has a delay to it, and you can only go like that. It's only a 90-degree turn on that.
Oh, so you can't do the...
You can't do the full wheel on a Cybertruck. It is slightly to the left, slightly to the right, and that's your full range of motion.
Huh. And that's annoying.
That's so annoying. People use their phones as their keys now, so I don't get to actually control the car most of the time. If they show up, my job is negated, and I have to walk them down to their car every time they need their vehicle, day or night. And especially most of the time, we're 24/7.
What?
Yeah, it's a little nuts. Or they have those little cards. They have to fumble through their wallets, and people lose them.
There's
all
no
the time.
keys.
And most of the time, there used to be a ton of fobs. It looks like the exact shape of the Tesla car.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a little card that you can slide in your wallet. Personally, I think that's cool. I get it. I understand it. From a valet perspective, I'm not a fan.
Wow.
But driving them around, I don't know. They're just so touchy. The new wheels, they're all basically a little rectangular block in the middle on the steering column.
Man, you sound like a big baby.
It's not fun.
You sound like you know what? You sound like an old man. In my day, there were 8-cylinder engines, internal combustion with a carburetor, and we didn't have all these fancy fuel injectors.
Everybody appreciated the gas that they ran on.
We didn't have no damn power steering when I was a boy. You whipped that thing around with your own manly strength.
You
deserve a tall glass of shut up juice, so can you just shut up for a second?
Hey, Scotty, I got like 30 seconds, but I want to give it to you. Go right ahead, Scotty. How's it going?
This is my take on that. I work for the government, okay, and so I worked in 47 years. I had my own private business. Moved to Tennessee. I work for the government now. I get so irritated about the privilege that the government gives the people in government. If I say 2 minutes overtime, they break out, and I don't know. It just irritates the snot out of me.
I can feel the snot coming out as we speak. Suck that snot bubble up and call us back tomorrow, Scotty, because we are simply out of time. It is 53 after the hour on Super Talk. Winding down. Hey, someone noted, I have not pulled it up. I had it. Dadgummit, I lost it. I had someone note that the Sheryl Crow video. Did you guys talk about the Sheryl Crow video? You in hand?
Not this morning, no.
So someone has noted to me, and I have the video on my page, at Matt Murphy Show. Follow me at Matt Murphy Show. I'm far more...
Over on the X Machine?
Over on the X Machine. I'm far more jerky over there. But I had it pulled up over there, and I've closed down the X Machine in my studio in anticipation of saying good night and welcoming in the great one, Mark Levin. But that if you notice, the trees have leaves on all of them, and it looks like she did this last fall. She's now claiming to have done it now, but she actually did it last year. So based on the trees, Sheryl Crow's a liar. I mean, but hell, if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad, Cheryl. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Till then, so long, everybody.